First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
What's going on, YouTube? Nathan back with another video presentation. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's staying safe. Happy Thursday. Man, ladies and gentlemen, I have a special guest.
Oh, man.
For the podcast. I told you season 3, we were going to do big things. This is episode 15? Yes. Of the podcast. If you are liking the content that you're seeing, you want to see more, consider hitting that subscribe button, hit that like button, consider also sharing the podcast. We're on Spotify. I'm on Spotify. All the episodes up until 13 and 14 in this episode haven't been posted yet. Marcus, what's good, bro? Good to see you, sir. Tomorrow, episode 16, we'll go live with Nick Rosario. I'm hoping to have him on. We're going to recap the wild card for the NL where the Dodgers lost in the bottom of the 9th on a Chris Taylor home run. And then the divisional series started today, Astros versus White Sox. And then also, we're going to recap. I'm going to give a preview for the Washington football team, the Ravens, as we go into week 5 of the NFL season. I'm also Nick Rosario, talk about his Chicago Bears. And going to get into the coverage for the Wnba playoffs. The Connecticut Sun were eliminated last night by the Chicago Sky. I'll get into that tomorrow. And the Phoenix Mercury and the Las Vegas Aces. The Aces survive another day. It goes to Game 5. So be ready for episode 16 tomorrow. But ladies and gentlemen, I got a guy that's he's putting that work. I can't working with the Clarion Ledger, his coverage on Jackson State he got national recognition, coverage of Deion Sanders, hip hop journalist. He's interviewed Gucci Mane, T.I., 21 Savage, Lil Yachty, different guys like that. He also worked with the Atlanta Falcons for Sports Illustrated. What else has he done? Let's see.
It's all right. It's all right. That's enough. I appreciate it so much, Big Nate. I appreciate it so much. Thank you, Big Nate, man. I'm so excited. I've been looking forward, when you get interviewed as a journalist, it's always, it's always like a nerve-wracking thing because, you're used to doing the interviewing. So when you get interviewed, right, it's like the only thing I thought of today was like, okay, we have so many more hours into Big Nate's podcast. Like, that's what I was thinking about all day. So wow, I'm excited to be here, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you for taking the time out to join me on the podcast. Look, I'm small, but I feel like I'm growing every day with the amount of support, and it's just putting in the work. I was really appreciative. Cameron, what's good, bro? Good to see you, sir. That you really take the time out, especially I know you like on it, like. Dude.
Nah, man, nah. Hey, and there's no such thing as like really small in here because on the internet, dude, like I was going off like you said with the Courtney Williams thing, which we'll get to later. Yep. It's like I think a lot of people that's like the mistake they make on social media is thinking they're small and thinking no one's paying attention. If you get 4 or 5 viewers, 14 viewers, 15, like those are 15 real people watching your stuff. And like people are tuned in. So if you slip up and say something dumb or something you're going to regret, it's 14, 15 people there that like can catch it and can spread the word. And then you see what happened this past week in the W and, in some other places too. So I don't know if there's such thing as a small, I guess, platform on the internet.
Well, I guess for me, because I look at it like, I've been having a very interesting time trying to reach out to agents, particularly like in the W. I try to reach out to Lexi Brown's agent. I tried to reach out to Jasmine Thomas's agent. It's hard. I mean, it's hard to reach out to some of these guys. I was surprised when you did the video with Monica McNutt. I was like, wow, how did that happen?
Oh yeah. Monica's that was crazy. I was working on that for months, and you know, like you said, like it was crazy because not because of just like Monica McNutt's famous, but like Monica McNutt does like 80 shows.
So nonstop. First take
on 20 networks. So it's like the fact that she did like the YouTube channel for free for like 20 minutes is crazy. So salute to Monica.
Sure.
She earned my respect off that for like
Absolutely.
for life. She don't have to do anything for the rest of her life. She don't have to do anything else for me. But that just shows you. I mean, like proof at the peak of her game. Like who else is gonna do that, man? Like you talk about a small platform. I don't even have 2,000. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not. I'm not Aiden Ross. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
but you're on the road to you're on the road to 2K subs though.
I am. Hopefully, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna get into it, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching the pod, if you're watching, please be sure to drop questions. We do have like a little Q&A for Rashad as the video progresses. But my first question, Rashad, is what made you interested in sports? And I should say sports journalism. Excuse me. What made you interested in it?
Oh, you're all good. What made me interested in it? I always loved sports. I was always like obsessed with it as a kid, and I think I was probably like 7 or 8, and I wanted to be in an MLB and the NBA, because I just love baseball and basketball. When I was about 10, I was on a really good team, and now I made a video about it. I reacted to one of the kids who went pro on the team. You know, like the entire starting 5 went D1 in football or basketball. Not D1, but like they all played college. You know, they all played on the college level somewhere. Okay. And you know, like one of the guys, he's playing overseas right now. He was playing in the G League the last couple of years with the Salt Lake team over there with the Jazz organization and stuff. Shout out to Kyle Kaslan. But it was just like when I was on that team and we were blowing teams out every game and stuff, and the practices, you know, like everybody knows, like if you have a really good team, the practices are just hell. Like it's like you're running crazy and suicides, and you know you got to get the press. We got to get the press right. We 10 years old. It was like, and that's when I was like, bro, like I don't know if this is for me. Like I didn't really like the running and stuff like that. My pops was like, yo, if you want a chance at the league, if you want a chance at college, you got to carry that rock with you everywhere you go. I wasn't trying to do that either. So it was just like, and then, you know, the 50 push-ups a day, it was just like a lot of physical labor stuff that I was just like, I don't know if this is for me, Dad. But I always knew, like, from the time I was probably like 7 or whatever, I just had like these basketball books and the Slam magazine. They had, ironically, like the top 75 players.
Right.
Just like that. And, you know, it was NBA 75 this year and stuff like that. So that's just how I learned about the game. Every book fair, I would get the NBA books and the sports books and stuff like that. And that's how I learned about the game. I would read all the Christopher, I forgot his name, but I just read like a bunch of Christopher. You know what I'm talking about? He used to write like, Christopher on the elementary school level. It's like 5th grade and lower.
Mm-hmm.
He would write like Ken Griffey Jr. books, Deion Sanders books,
I think he wrote
Jerry Rice books. Yeah, Michael Jordan, like all the big athletes. And it was in elementary school, so like those were the books that I would grab and read. And that's pretty much where the passion started for it. And then I was 10 years old. We were in Disney World. We were at Golden Corral. We ate Golden Corral for everything. And like this was before my dad went vegan and stuff. But yeah, so we ate Golden Corral 3 times a day and stuff. And one of the times we were there, we were eating at the table. I was talking about sports. My dad was like, "You know, Chris Berman get paid like a couple $1 million to be on ESPN to talk sports." I was like, "He gets paid that much money to talk sports? Like that's what I talk sports." So then I was like, "Bro, if you can get paid something close to what athletes are getting paid and like doing what I already do," that's when I was like, "Okay, I want to be an ESPN analyst." So I started saying that when I was 10. And, you know, I don't know if ESPN is the exact network I want to be at right now. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But the sports journalism umbrella is still like, you know, my goal and my dream. So to be here is a beautiful thing. And any days that I get frustrated or overwhelmed with workload or something, I just kind of sit back and have that perspective of, this was my dream when I was 10.
For sure. Now, my next question, because also I was looking a little bit, because I would look at when I first found you out on Twitter and on your YouTube channel, and there was a little bit you were.
That's crazy. You found me on Twitter, Nate, because like I don't tweet.
No, I mean, I know because like there's a couple YouTubers like Christina Williams. I know you a couple like Christina Williams, some of the WNBA women pages. I mean, that's how I found it. I'm like, oh, okay. But because also too, you would tweet because I tried to catch a couple Jackson State games on YouTube. I can't get it in my region. So what, like, talk about your how can I explain it? From when you decided at that moment you decided to be a sports journalist, like how did the networking, particularly you say at 10, what were the things you were doing? Were you did you have like a little blog website? Did you have little things like did you little YouTube page, different things like that? So what did you, after the light bulb went off, said sports journalist, talk to the people?
I mean, so it was probably like the first thing I did was I used to be on this online forum called NBA Fanboys. It used to be on NBA.com. Yeah. And it was like, I just used to be on that heavy. And that was like the first time that I was around people who like kind of talked about sports and loved basketball as much as I did, was being on that forum. And that forum turned into real sports talk because NBA Fanboys just stopped, NBA.com thought it would be a good idea to have a social media kind of forum. But you know how like social media is now. So like after a couple of years, they kind of had to shut it down. Unfortunately. but those were a couple fun years. And in that, they even had this thing of where they had the NBA.com experts do like a mock draft on one side. And then the other side was like just random members of Fanboys who got to pick the people. So like I got to write for NBA.com when I was like 12, 13 years old.
Wow.
And so that was kind of like my first taste of it. But I didn't think of it like that back then. I didn't think of it until like I was a senior in high school. Like, dang, I wrote for NBA.com when I was like 13. But because, they didn't pay us for it or nothing like that. See, now that I'm like older, I'm like, hold on, like you could have thrown, you could have gave us $5. It's NBA.com. Could have gave us $5 or something.
Could have gave us $10.
Exactly. It's the NBA.
So when you said you were writing at that time for NBA.com, what teams were you covering at the time?
No, it wasn't like anything official. It was just like for the mock draft, I had the Hawks in 2007. So with the third pick, I picked Al Horford. 11th pick, I picked AC Law. Both of those came true. And then the next year was 2008.
Really?
Yeah. I had the 15th pick with the Phoenix Suns, and I picked Mo Spates. And Mo Spates went to like
Philadelphia, right.
But he was like pick 14 or 6. He was like right in the ballpark or something like that. And I was just like, man. But because I know this because I literally just recorded a video kind of preparing for this. I was like, hey, I'm going to be talking about this on Big Nate's podcast, by the way, tonight. Support and watch Big Nate tonight and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's really how it started. Being on the forums, and on the forums we talked about everything, everything, everybody. And I was like, it was only me and 2 other white guys. We were the only Hawks fans on there. So So those 2 dudes, and they're brothers too. So it's kind of like, I guess it count for one because they're in the same household. And those dudes, we grew up, and then like I met them in real life, and we became like real life friends.
Cool.
Like when we got older. So like they always like comment every now and again. Oh, it's so crazy seeing Rashad. We started from the forums, and now he's
now we here. Sorry exactly. Now we here.
Yeah, exactly. But Mina Kimes started from online forums.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like that era, 2007. Like that late 2000s, early 2010s, of the online forums and stuff like that. That produced a lot of great reporters, and I don't know. It was just good training ground. And then I guess when I got older, fast forwarding a little bit,
Sure.
like I use my YouTube channel just to kind of practice speaking in front of the camera and stuff like that. It would get like 5 views and stuff like that.
Well, just for
And
the record, I think you did a really good job because you were on the X interview with the Los Angeles Sparks, and
oh yeah, thank you,
you
thank you, thank you.
you asked Taya Cooper and it was Erica Wheeler.
Yeah. I was on there. I got permission to do that for
Yeah,
another
I'm just
story I was
like,
working on, and
man,
it was crazy because it was like I didn't get to ask the question that I wanted to like to Erica, and then so with Taya I just asked both questions in it, and then so I got Taya to answer, and I'm turning in the first draft of that story, but I flipped that into another story for Peachtree Hoops. So it's like just kind of I don't know pushing. You learn stuff throughout the years of like how
for
to
sure.
use things and everything like that.
For sure. So my next question. So I'm going to transition a little from high school going into college. Like, did you have an idea of a school? The high school that you went to, did you have a newspaper, and then like the things you were covering throughout your time in high school, and then did you use some of that work to the colleges that you were considering going to? How did you use that to as what schools did you have in mind for college, and how did you utilize your work to help you as a can I say canvas part of your portfolio? There you go.
Got you. I got you. So fun facts about high school. I say this all the time on my channel, so it'd be like, we already know. But I went to high school with De'Erica Hamby for a couple years, and then she transferred to Norcross, and then I also went to high school with Dansby Swanson, shortstop of the Atlanta Braves. Exactly. So like,
Wow.
and a professional dunker went there too, and like an NFL. Like it was a lot of people in that kind of range that went on to do great things in life at Marietta. So that's where I was in high school, and they had a newspaper, and like my advisement teacher was the newspaper lady. So she was like the newspaper advisor, and she was like, "Oh, if you want to do this, you can join, Rashad. Like you're in. Like I know you." And I was just like hesitant to do it because like I didn't like writing essays. I hated writing. Like I didn't like writing papers. I didn't like reading books. Like I didn't like none of that. Like I just wanted to talk. So anyways, so I didn't join the newspaper. I applied to join the newspaper, the yearbook staff, and I didn't get that. And I was referred to do the newspaper because she was like, "Oh, I feel like you'd be better for the newspaper." And I still didn't. I still just didn't do it in high school. So like nowadays, every time like I reach out to her, or she reaches out to me, it's always like, "You got to speak to the kids," and I wish I would have just talked you into joining the newspaper so you could be a alum. But anyways, so that was high school, and then going into it, I looked up like the top sports journalism programs. So it's like UGA was up there, A&T was up there because they had a sports journalism program, North Carolina A&T, and then Indiana University, and then Morehouse had a sports journalism program too. So like I wanted to go to, I had all schools on my list, and then Kentucky was also on the list because they had a lot of like you kind of get in easy and get scholarships if you're black type of deal over there at Kentucky. So I was looking at all of that, and then this was around the time where like my favorite players were going to Kentucky. So like guys like Ryan Harrow, he was my favorite player at the time coming out of high school. Jabari Parker was my favorite player, even though he didn't go to Kentucky. But those were just some of my favorite players coming out of high school. But anyways. So, dang, where was I? I'm talking about college. Okay, so those are my schools. And it was like UGA or Morehouse. And then I was like, okay, I don't have the grades for UGA coming out of high school. I had like a 2.5 like my sophomore year or something like that. I was in all the advanced classes. And then like they told my mom I had no business being in advanced classes. I was just lazy. I wasn't stupid. So like I take all of those things, like all of those moments throughout my life. That's important to the story. I take all of those moments like as fuel to be like, you said I wasn't good enough. Anyways, I worked my butt off to get to like over a 3.0 by the time of graduation. So I knew I didn't have the grades for UGA coming straight out. So I was like, okay, maybe Morehouse. Morehouse has a good reputation, but a 3.0 in like kind of the essays that I should be able to write should be able to get me in there. So I applied to Morehouse, got into Morehouse, like did a bunch of things, was in the financial aid office all summer, and we just couldn't afford it. It's $40,000. So
Jeez.
yeah. So my senior year, we had a little college road trip down to Florida, and on the way we stopped at Valdosta State. Valdosta State was $7,000, which is still expensive, but like it's a lot cheaper than $40,000.
$40,000.
So,
Yeah, you got that right.
and then it's a public school, so like I had the grades to get Hope. When Georgia, Hope is sponsored by the Georgia Lottery, where kids, if you had a 3.0, they'll take care of your tuition. So I had just enough for Hope, and I got Hope, and I went to Valdosta State. So I went to Valdosta State for a year, and I really loved it. Great palm trees, great people, beautiful place. But it was like the big thing was like, if you work really hard, your senior year, the last semester, you can get a spot on this anchor desk for the student news TV show. And then if you work extremely hard, you never know. Maybe you can drive 2 hours down south to Jacksonville, and you can run the cable cords along the sidelines for Monday Night Football at a Jaguars game. I was like,
Wow.
Is that literally the ceiling here? Like, is that the best thing I could possibly do? Is run the wires on the sideline of a Monday Night Football game for the Jacksonville Jaguars 2 hours away? Like that's my ceiling here. So I was like, nah, that ain't it. And then it was like another kind of just like example of like kind of mentality, the small town mentality is like this one dude, and he is like the best rapper I've ever heard. He's a great rapper. And then we did this group project where we did a rap song, and then like he recorded, and then he stepped back. He was like, that's the first time I ever recorded. He was like, yep, been writing since I was 12, but I never recorded. And he was bragging about it. And I was like, bro, like, no one's gonna know who you are. Like, you're the best rapper I heard in my life, but no one's gonna know who you're. Like, you're in Valdosta, Georgia. Like, no one's gonna discover you, bro. Like, how are people gonna even? And so it's just like, I just knew like I had to go somewhere else. So I tried to make Valdosta State work. Like, I reached out to Nancy Grace from CNN, HLN.
Mm-hmm.
She went to Valdosta State, so I was like, maybe she would. Well, nobody really rocking with me, so I was like, okay, I tried to make it work. So all right, I'm looking at UGA. I have the grades for UGA. I made Dean's List both semesters. That's for all the people who told me in high school I had no business. But anyway, I made and then Georgia State was the other one. So Georgia State was right in the middle of downtown Atlanta. So I'm like, dang, I could really like just make something shake if I was in Atlanta, in the city for real. So I took a tour of Georgia State, went to Georgia State. The rest is history. I networked. That was the plan going into it, and I networked like crazy. And I mean, one thing led to another. That's how I got here. I wouldn't be here without Atlanta or Georgia State.
Amen. So my next question is, when you graduated from Georgia State, can you put how much emphasis would you put on, particularly for, because I'm an aspiring sports journalist myself. I'm in school for mass communications at the University of Towson. So can you emphasize the importance of networking?
Like, I'll tell you like this, like pretty much every position I've gotten hasn't been from an application or a job that I applied to. Like literally when before I graduated, I applied to like probably 50 places. And like, that's what all my friends did. Like, they were like, yeah, putting in these applications. But like, man, like, I don't know. It's just like, I wasn't getting anything. But I got like, even my internship, I got an internship at the end of college through, I won an award. I sent it, my first award, sent it to my mentor. My mentor blasted it out to everybody. And then, one of the people he sent it to was like, hey, we need an intern. Can he come in for an interview this week? That's how I got on with my internship in college. So that was that. And then I graduated. Okay, about a month later, still no work. I'm just freelancing right now for a month. NBA finals are on. I get a call. Hey, I know this isn't really what you want to do, but the Douglas County paper, they're looking for a news reporter. Douglas County is 45 minutes west of Atlanta, for those of you who don't know. And I was like, yeah, that's not really my thing. Yeah, that's not what I'm trying to do. And then kind of just hung up. Then I thought about it, and I was like, I can stay in Atlanta and still do all the freelance stuff I'm doing on the side. in the meantime and be there for 6 to 12 months and then make some shake. So then I called him back. I'm interested. So like I got that job. I was a news reporter. Didn't want to do news. Didn't see myself in newspapers. I did newspapers in college, but I thought I was going to go into TV. And then so did that, just learned about news, had to learn about like law, sat in city council meetings for 11 months. And then like the reality of the industry, I got laid off. So keep up with me now. You're saying the importance of networking. So I'm reaching out now to just like all my friends, letting everybody know, like, no, I was laid off. Like, I'm not about to probably put out a Facebook status about this. So I'm texting everybody, right? So texting, and then I'm texting these group of dudes that I met at the journalism conference from college. It was called the Southeast Journalism Conference. I went there 2 years in a row, junior and senior year. And I met these dudes there that I met both years. So I'm texting them and I'm letting them know, yo, I just got laid off. One of the dudes is like, yo, I don't know. I doubt you'll be interested in this, because he saw me doing all the big stuff in Atlanta, but he didn't know I wasn't getting paid for none of that stuff. So like it looked good. So that's another thing for you kids. If you look on Instagram, you see somebody look flashy, like, I want to get paid. People was like, congratulations, you out here, you doing big things, bro. I wasn't even getting paid for that stuff. But anyway, so he was like, I doubt you will want it, but it's about 90 minutes from Atlanta, and I just put in my 2 weeks earlier this week. I'm burnt out, bro. I can't do it anymore.
Wow.
I was like, man, sports? I'm trying to get in sports. So I jumped on it, like got on it, went to the interview the next Wednesday. I was laid off that previous Friday. Next Wednesday, I went to Alabama for the interview and got the job by the end of the week, started the next week. So
got you.
Go ahead.
Got you. So that job, when you got to Alabama, could you go like what were the things you were doing within that job?
I did everything. Took the pictures. I laid out the newspaper. We did the biggest things we did was the football preview magazine, where I write all the stories for it's like 8 local teams, take all the pictures for the magazine, and I laid it out. I designed the whole thing, and it's like 67 pages, 72 pages. And like, I showed that to, not to name drop, because I don't know the dude like that, but David Aldrich at a NABJ conference. And he was like, he looked at it and he was just like, wow, this is amazing.
The David Aldrich NBA
writer?
Yeah. Wow.
And he was just like, this is amazing. I was like, man, I'm so exhausted. Like, look at what they have me doing. Like, I'm doing all this. He's like, but this is impressive. Like, wow, you took all these pictures. It's like, yeah. He's like, and you designed it and you wrote all these stories? I was like, yeah. It's like, wow, that's very impressive. He wasn't like, let me hire you on The Athletic, but I mean, he did say it was impressive, so I guess that's close enough.
He didn't get you on The Athletic?
He didn't, unfortunately. I didn't get to do the I'm joining The Athletic thing that there was like a meme for a couple months there.
So I know. So like, talk about like as you're progressing. Like, I know you said in the there was one that I was reading on the website. You were in, it was in Douglasville, if I'm saying that right?
Yeah,
where
Douglasville.
you kind of, that's where you kind of started making a name for yourself. I think where you kind of think. I just know that's where you made a name for yourself. So could you talk about a little bit about that?
Yeah, I don't know if I made a name for myself in Douglasville. Like, I was just kind of just a guy there. But like, I guess you would say like at that time in Douglasville, I was freelancing at Rolling Out magazine, and that's where I interned in college. So like, I was still working for them for free pretty much after college, and but that's where I really that's when stuff started popping, because I started going viral. Like, I asked Ben Simmons the day it was like his rookie season with Donovan Mitchell. Like, the rookie race was him and Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell wore like a hoodie that spelled out what the definition of what a rookie was. And like it was going viral during the Hawks Sixers game. So, I'm like, oh, this is perfect timing. So I go in the Philly locker room and I'm like, hey, Ben, Donovan Mitchell, he wore a hoodie with the definition of what a rookie is. He's like, what did he say the definition was? And, I'm young, so I'm like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't read it. And then someone cut me off and was like, a rookie is the first professional player. And then, like, he answered the question and it went viral. It was on Sports Center, and I got to hear my voice in it.
Because, I remember that.
Because they cut the clip, like, they cut the question or whatever. But, like, since I'm like, I don't know while he's giving the answer, like, that part was in Sports Center. So I got home, turned on the TV, and I heard my voice, and I was in bed. I was like, that's me. Like, it was crazy. And then another time was with Lonzo Ball. He came to Atlanta, and I asked him who his top 5 rappers in the game were. And, like, he said, like, Lonzo Ball. He said, like, Future, Lil Uzi Vert, Migos, Drake, and then, like, some other mumble rapper. And then since it was like, that was just 5, like not Nas, not Tupac, like, well, I mean, okay, but this was like top 5 rappers in the game right now. So that's a little bit understandable, but still, it's like, bro, come on, dog. Like he didn't say Kendrick, he didn't say Cole, like he didn't say the obvious people.
No,
so
not the obvious.
He just
went with the trendsetter. The trendsetters.
Exactly. So like DJ Academics posted it, and like that went crazy. It was on Bleacher Report as well. And so like I went viral. I probably went viral a couple other times that I just can't remember. Oh yeah, the Black Woman's top 10 Black women in sports journalism. Yeah. I did that list in like 2017, and that was from Munson Steed. He like recommended I do something like that, and I was gonna do top 10 TV sports broadcasters, and I just like, no, let's just do all of journalism. And that thing went bonkers. Like all 10 of the women on the list acknowledged it and tweeted it out. And nice. It was going viral while I was, in the office at Douglas County. So, here I am in the break room, talking about, city council and like stuff that I didn't really find it. All due respect to Douglas County, I appreciate the job and the money and the healthcare benefits, but it was like stuff that I wasn't passionate about at all.
Right.
So to be at a job I really wasn't passionate about, and the days like kind of drew out, and to be on my phone, and it's like a whole nother world where like my phone is like notification from Jamel Hill is like it's crazy. And Jamel Hill at that point was like
she was on the rise.
Exactly. So it was just Taylor Rooks tweeted it out. Like that junk was just crazy to me. And so that's when I started really buzzing. It was like 2017, 2018. I kept going viral.
Now you talked to me like, do you speak to like Jamel and Taylor Rooks from time to time? Like,
no, not really. Like I spoke to Taylor Rooks once at NABJ in Miami a couple years ago, and then like 2018, I saw Jamel Hill she was at a Hawks game. It was Hawks and OKC, and this was when Melo was on OKC. Right. So she was in the locker room talking to Melo and stuff like that, just chopping it up. And I walked up to her because she had a shirt that was like "Stay Woke," and I was like, "Hey, I like your shirt." And then she was like, "Ha ha." And then I was like, "I don't know if you know her, but I wrote that list." And then she was like, "Oh, okay, all right, thank you." And it was like it was a genuine, it wasn't like a "all right, kid, get out of my face." So
right.
Nah, but it was like, it's just people that I met like maybe once or twice, had like small talks with them. Like Ross going on Wnba, same thing where I met her once and had a small talk with her and asked her for advice.
Okay. Now I do have a question here from Marcus. Did you meet Kobe?
Yeah. Shout out Bean.
Okay.
Rest in peace to Mamba, man. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Kobe. Now, as of now, because I know you worked at the Valley Times. You were the first Black editor of that newspaper.
Yeah.
Talk about the how did it feel to be, you're the first Black editor for that newspaper? Like, talk about your experience.
I had no idea. Like, I didn't know. So it was like, I just got there, and then it was different because it was a small town. So it was like, I was going from a metropolitan area in a big city where, what happened in the metropolitan area in a big city? I'm trying to think what happened. Oh, it's just kind of like no one cared, like, cause there's so much going on. It's like Tyler Perry might be in the area. Like it was so much going on. People didn't care about the local city council meeting and stuff like that. There was a couple people in the community Facebook group, but like people didn't care for the most part.
For sure.
So I went from that to this small town, like 3,000 people, 5,000 people, 8,000 people. And it was like, so high school sports to them was like everything. High school sports is like college in a small town, and college is like professional. So we were 30 minutes north of Auburn. So Auburn was like, their NFL team. And then, of course, the Falcons as well. So it was just like when I first got down there, it was crazy, bro. Like I was getting recognized by people for the first time in my life. And it was just weird. Like, it was like you small town famous. That's like the slogan that one of the teams used when they won their first state championship in football in 50 years while I was down there. Shout out Chambers Academy. It was small town famous. And that's how I felt down there. It's like, because like when they ran my columns had my photo on it. So people would like see me and be like, hey, I read what you wrote. And like, going back to what we were talking about before at the beginning of like, whenever I write, I just kind of assume like no one cares. Like no one's going to see this. No one's going to read this actually.
For sure.
And then like, but people are actually reading and people are actually paying attention. And they're talking about like specific things I said. And like, it was weird. It was honestly weird. Like people, like in Walmart were like, hey, Rashad, I'm like, how do you know? It was just weird, bro. It was weird. So it took some time to get it adjusted to. And then like one day this lady pulled up to the office and I was leaving. She was like, hey, you're Rashad, right? And I was like, yeah. And it was kind of like, okay, here we go again. And the lady was like, yeah, I used to work for the Valley Times back in the 80s and stuff. Did you know you're the first Black to ever be in your position? And I was like, what? And she was like, you're the first Black to ever hold any type of editor position at Valley Times. I was just like, wow, like that junk crazy. So I went back in, when I went back in for my assignment, I was like, hey, Wayne. Wayne is like the guy who's been there forever. This lady told me in a parking lot that I was like the first Black editor here. Is that true? And he was like, oh, think about it. Yeah, probably are. Probably. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. So I took that and I ran with it. I told everybody. I was like, did you know I was the first Black editor? I was like, Black power. Like, that's what I was doing. So it's pretty cool.
I like it. So I'm going to transition a little bit because you were a hip hop journalist. What got you in that realm of journalism?
I mean, all right, so I try to step around it or whatever, but like I have a a little musical background, a little rap background and stuff. Like I've always been into music, just a music head and stuff like that. And like I just used to be around a bunch of rappers and stuff. I used to be like in a rap game, you know what I'm saying? So just kind of in those connections and everything, I just always had like a passion for it. So being in journalism, it's kind of just like same thing as doing sports, really.
Sure. Because I know again, Gucci Mane, T.I., like how was the networking reaching out to those guys?
It was so the T.I. was under Rolling Out, and then like all of these dudes I was doing stories for Rolling Out, and then so it was all under that, and then the T.I. thing was at the Magic City Classic, which is in Birmingham, Alabama, between Alabama State, Alabama A&M every year. And T.I. was the performer, and then he was doing a press conference beforehand because he was doing this partnership with Bud Light, giving money to HBCU. So that was the story and everything like that. So to ask him questions and, being from Atlanta, like, that was like everything to me. And, obviously in 2021 at this time, it's not the best time in the world to be like, oh, T.I. is, But
that's true. Good point.
But back then it's like before we knew anything, you know what I'm saying? I just looked up to him a lot. Like him and Kanye, those were my two favorite rappers as a kid. So it just meant a lot to interview T.I. and ask him a couple questions. The Gucci thing and everything, I was just, those were all at Hawks games, Yachty, Hawks games. So just covering the Hawks games and having them perform, that's how those things came about.
Would you mind giving me your top 5 rappers of all time?
Oh man. All right. So Dang, you really put me on a hot seat here. Like, all right, I'm not the biggest hip hop head. Let me put that disclaimer out first, because I feel like people give their top fives and then they get killed for it. So I'll say this: I'm not the biggest hip hop head in the world. Like,
That's okay.
I know,
I'm not the biggest hip hop head. I'm not me neither.
like Bron says, like I'm a hip hop connoisseur. First of all, LeBron, no, and second all, like okay. So all right, I guess you got to go Pac and Big, top two. And then you can interchange 3 Stacks. I'm from Atlanta. That's a bit biased, but whatever. Now it gets tough because you can go with the new guys to fill. You can say Kendrick and Drake, and not even Drake for the pen, because obviously we know about Drake with his pen. But just he's doing like Black Beatles, like Beatles numbers, But Wayne also did Drake numbers before Drake was doing Drake numbers.
That's true.
And then you have a guy like Kanye, who like he might not be the best rapper and the best lyricist ever, but his impact on music, he's probably the most influential and the greatest artist in the past 25 years, like in America at least.
I agree with that.
So I guess I would go just for that. I'll go Pac and Big, 3 Stacks, Ye, and then Kendrick. That's a very controversial top 5.
Where is Nas, LL Cool J, Cube, Dre, Snoop Dogg in that? Are they honorable mentions? I'm just curious.
Snoop, top 10. Okay. Nas, top 10. Jay, I didn't say Jay. New York, don't get me, New York. I have Big in the top 2, so I should be good anyway.
No, you're fine.
Top 10. Who else?
Dr. Dre, Ice Cube.
Nah, Dr. Dre can't rap. Salute to Dr. Dre though. Cube, not top 10. LL, nah, not top 10.
Okay,
not top 10. You got guys like Rakim and guys like Kiss, like people giving Kiss his flowers now because of verses. You got guys like Ja Rule and DMX and there's so many. DMX. Yeah, Q-Tip.
Q-Tip. Like, oh man, can't forget about him.
There's so many. There's so many
Ludacris.
People. Big Boy, Ludacris. It's so many, man. It's so many. But yeah, I'm not putting Dr. Dre in my top 10. I can't.
I respect that.
But Big Nate, hold on.
Yes, sir.
Do you want me to tell the Kobe story for the dude who asked about Kobe?
Yes, if you don't mind. I got a couple more questions, and then we're gonna get into the sports talk.
All right, cool. So I'll try to keep it quick. All right, so Kobe's story was like this. It was like we got in for the first NBA game I covered was my junior year of college. And I did that with the student newspaper. It was RJ Hunter. He was a former Georgia State guy. He hit the big shot in the March Madness, and his dad was a coach, and he fell off the chair, and it went viral. He went to the Boston Celtics that year. And when he was there his rookie year, we got credentials to go to that game. So we went to that game, and then when we left, we were like, thank you. And they were like, what did they say? They're like, oh, yeah, no problem. Anytime you guys want to come back, just email us. It's like, wow, for real? Is that easy? So a couple weeks later, Kobe announces his retirement in Washington, and he was going to Atlanta on that Friday. So I put in immediately, just shooting my shot. And, Kobe, ironically. And we got in. So we got in, and we got to see Kobe Bryant's final game in Atlanta. And then I was in the press conference, and yeah, man, I snuck in a question, but that press conference was like one of the more aggressive press conferences I've ever been in. So like I had to like sneak in a question, and I snuck in my question, and like years later, I saw that it was a question someone asked him already in Washington a couple of days prior, but Kobe was a good sport about it. He laughed, and the whole room laughed. And yeah, it's a moment I'll always remember.
Nice. So I know you've also done work with the Atlanta Falcons as well. So like, were you just like, can you talk a little bit about that? What you were doing with the Falcons? Yeah. And please tell me you did not you were not there when you witnessed that choke.
Oh man. So so that night, I was invited to we got credentials actually to cover like the events, like the week events and stuff leading up to the game. But we were in college, man. We were broke. We didn't have the money to like get airfare and then pay for a hotel for like, Super Bowl week for a week.
Right.
We didn't have the money for that, so we didn't go. But but yeah, anyways, I turned down every Super Bowl party invite and stuff like that from my family, from my friends, everybody. I was like, bro, I gotta watch this at home. I mean, in my dorm by myself. Like it's the biggest moment of my life. So I was standing up the whole time and I was just playing defense, you know what I'm saying? Like defense, I'm like pacing defense. I'm like, get up. And like we get into the quarterback and it's beautiful. Dwight Freeney's like 48 and he's sacking Tom Brady. Grady Jarrett's he went full Super Saiyan at like 4 sacks in the first half. I was just like, oh. And then the Robert Alford, oh man. Robert Alford pick 6. And he throws up the A. I haven't seen anyone do that since 2004. So when he did it, I was like, I'm punching my closet door. I'm like, ah! And it's just, and then it happened. And for the outside world, people might be like, oh, they're so surprised and shocked. It happens literally to the Falcons every single week. Like that's the story of the Matt Ryan era. It's like every single week they blow leads and they make games more interesting than they need.
Yeah, they make it more interesting.
The thing is, are they gonna win or not? That was the thing. We knew they were gonna blow the lead. We didn't know if they would be able to hold off the blown lead or not. So that jump was just crazy. I tweeted it, saddest moment of my life. Anyways. That next season, I'm with Rolling Out, right? So I covered the Falcons for Rolling Out. I didn't get to do any Falcons in college because, like, the NFL and the Falcons and the Braves didn't rock with college media. So I didn't get to do any of that in college. So with Rolling Out, I got to do the Falcons in 2017. I covered them, went to, like, every home game, and it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun and stuff like that. And then I'm trying to think, when was Sports Illustrated? Sports Illustrated was like probably over the pandemic. So it's like 2020. And with Sports Illustrated, I was on the little Teams calls, the little Zoom calls with the Falcons and stuff like that. And just wrote a bunch of Falcons content and did a bunch of Falcons videos and stuff. So at that point, like I was already pretty much checked out as a fan.
I don't blame you.
And yeah.
There were a few years for me when I as a Raven fan, even as an Oriole fan, we lost 110 games this year for the Orioles. I checked out and it was like 2 weeks left of the season. Like, damn.
But the thing is though, like as a journalist, like that's the tricky part because like we come in this thing because we're fans of sports, but like I had to eventually like just check in all my fan tags because like regardless of how. Like, cause like I was kind of known as a kid that was like diehard Atlanta. Like to be taken seriously, I had to like put that away. Right. And it's kind of like a sacrifice because it's like it's your whole life. But in Atlanta anyway, it's not even it's just saving yourself from more heartbreak anyway. It still stings sometimes when Atlanta teams let me down, but not as much like when I was a fan.
Right. So I have a question. So you were a theater minor?
Yeah.
On Netflix with on a show on FX, excuse me. And you met also John Cena.
Yeah. I was on a movie with John Cena. I used to do extra work. I used to do like background work and stuff like that in Atlanta. And I was on Atlanta, ironically, Donald Glover show on FX. And
I'm just curious, did you give John Cena the attitude adjustment?
No, John, he's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. Like him and Gronk are two people who are like, they look nice on TV, but they're really nice people. Like if you meet them and I don't know.
I think Gronk is the biggest kid. Like I think other compared to Shaq, I think Gronk is the biggest kid in the world.
They go so well together. They did that little pandemic thing where they had, Gronk and Shaq's big party with Taylor Ricks hosting it. That was one of my favorite nights of the pandemic.
Was that the one where he had Gronk on his shoulders?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I cannot believe that.
And Shaq was like DJing and everything. Shaq's a really good DJ. It's a really good thing. But yeah, like shout out to Gronk and John Cena, like,
Shout out to them.
yeah,
Definitely.
but like he like walked up to her because people usually, especially the stars of a thing, they don't usually talk to the background talent. So
Right.
like John Cena, he literally just walked over to our table. We were like supposed to be high school students at a prom, and then he walked over to our table, and then like he was like, "How's everybody doing?" And then I was just like, I was holding on to the, I was like, "Just holding on, man." He's like, "Just holding on." I was like, "Just holding on, man." It was real nice. And then he started playing piano on set. I was like, John Cena knows how to play piano. What can this guy do? He can rap. He can wrestle.
Amazing. So we're going to get into sports. This is a two-part. Well, actually, this is two more questions, and then we're going to get into sports. Did you ever, because in Atlanta they have, inside the NBA, did you ever picture yourself doing a show like that? Like with Ernie, like how Ernie, how he contains Chuck, Kitty. Did you ever envision yourself doing a show like that? Or do you envision that still?
Well, first things first, man. Shout out to Ernie. He's another nice guy. When you talk about nice guys, I went to his book signing my senior year of college. This is what I'm saying. Moving to Atlanta, like just being around stuff, and like I just like, hey, I'm about to graduate. Here's my information. I love to shadow you or something like that. And he gave me his email and he let me shadow him a couple of weeks later inside the NBA, like, which is just crazy. It's just ridiculous. And I'm trying to like pop big stuff, like, and talk trash back and forth with Chuck backstage. I didn't know what I was talking about. So he was like, he's like, who y'all got tonight, right? So like it's the Hawks and the Pacers on, and I was like, the Hawks, or like I said, like the Pacers. But he was talking about who y'all got as y'all fantasy picks. You know how like at the show they do like one fantasy player every show. Right. But I'm trying to be a know-it-all kid, and I was just wrong, and I'm still embarrassed about that to this day. But like first of all, shout out to Ernie on that. As far as like Atlanta and Turner, they distanced themselves so much from Atlanta. Like they barely talked about the Hawks growing up. Like you would never know they were in Atlanta if you just exactly.
Wow.
Because like they just never talked about Atlanta or like the Hawks or anything growing up. So like it was like I said, I grew up more. Yeah. The Braves, TBS in them. Okay. But like Turner, as far as NBA, like never talked about the Hawks. So it's like you wouldn't even know that they were in Atlanta. So I mean, growing up, like I said, like the dream was ESPN, not TNT, not Turner. But like getting in college and everything like that, and getting closer to, a lot of kids getting Turner internships and stuff like that. I definitely would like admired their work and stuff, and I grew up watching NBA TV, so that's Turner as well. But I don't know, man. I don't really know what type of show that I like to host in the future.
Sure. So you said
I'm sorry. By the way, I'm sorry, Nate. That was a long-winded answer to say I don't know. Like, so I apologize for that.
No, don't apologize. It's all good. So you said ESPN. Who did you growing up? And then we'll get to my last question. We'll get into sports. This is a side of the you talking about ESPN. Who was it at ESPN? I know your dad talked about. You said earlier earlier where your dad said, "Oh, Chris Berman, gets paid to talk sports." Besides Chris Berman, who else at ESPN made you go, "I got to be on ESPN. I want to be on ESPN."
Everybody black.
I respect that. Absolutely.
Jay Harris, Stan Verrett, Stuart Scott, rest in peace. God rest his soul. Who else?
Sage.
Michael Smith.
Michael
Jamel Hill. Mike Wilbon for sure. Everybody black inspired. Terrence Moore used to be on there a lot, and that's my mentor now. Yeah, man, is everybody. John Saunders, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, John Saunders. Stephen A. Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yes, Stephen A. When I was a kid, when I grew up, it was kind of like
it was a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, exactly. You feel me?
It's still kind of like that now.
I respect him for like, he's like one of the probably top 5 paid in the game. You know what I'm saying? It's like Coward, Jim Rome, Skip Bayless, and then like Stephen A. probably are like top 4 guys in sports journalism as far as getting money. So salute to him for getting his money. Like, get your money, black man. But like, it's like, It's like the role they make him play. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It just doesn't draw us in the best light, and it's kind of like, so. And then he's such a role model because he does get paid the most, and he is the most visible face on ESPN right now.
Right.
That it's like so many kids, like they see that growing up, like, you know what I'm saying, like me growing up watching the other people, like they're growing up watching Stephen A, and they're like, okay, I want to grow up and just and it's like, I don't know, man, like all black folks ain't loud, all black folks ain't, you know what I'm saying, it's just
true.
a lot of it's like kind of negative stereotypes being portrayed, and like they push it, and it's kind of like, it's almost like it's trying to be slick with it. Like, it's like, okay, this is the man that you want to push and promote. Okay, all right, bet. Like, why not Bomani? Bomani's black.
Bomani
Salute
Jones.
to Bomani, get in the HBO show. Is it because Bomani doesn't scream and just have hot takes all day?
No, he doesn't. Yep.
He's an intelligent man and like well-spoken. He's a well-spoken, they only use well-spoken with black people too.
Ryan Clark too.
Yeah, Ryan Clark, yeah. But
I think I think he's going to leave. I think his contract is almost up. So
no, he said he's staying. He said
he's
staying.
going to stay. Okay.
But he got the show at HBO. So he said got the show at HBO, but he's still staying past March.
Okay. I know they're I don't know what they're going to do about Sage. I know there's some. They took her off the air.
No, they're not going to take her off.
No, they're not. Sage ain't going
because it's like they would have taken her off by now.
For sure.
So
for sure.
Like everybody said, she's been doing it for the past like 5 years now. Like I even got in trouble, ironically, for writing something about Sage. Like when I was interning at Rolling Out, I wrote about Sage being taken off of NBA Countdown for like saying the thing about Andre Iguodala. And then I was like, the story was like ESPN kills two birds with one stone, getting rid of Sage Steele off of NBA Countdown. And then so the ESPN PR guy DM'd me he followed me on Twitter, and I was in theater class. And I looked at my phone, and I was like, oh, snap, a guy from ESPN followed me. He was following like 100 people and had 8,000 followers. Of course I'm going to follow back. So I followed back. As soon as I followed back, he's in my DM. Hey, Rashad, I seen your article about Sage. It made it seem like that she was being fired, and so you had to write like a follow-up. They gave like an official statement to USA Today. I'm like, dang, why can't you give us an official statement?
Wow.
I'm the one that you're mad at, but you know what I'm saying?
Like statement from USC. Cause I think I remember that article. What you said was nothing wrong. It was just a joke.
No, I was going in. I'm not gonna lie. I was going in on Sage, but
well, I mean, Sage, with all due respect, Sage does make some has some interesting takes.
So. Yeah. I mean, she's entitled to it. You know,
sure.
She's entitled to it. But like I said, like that was 5 years ago. That was 4 years ago. So the fact that like, she made the comment about like they were protesting in the airport about Muslims not being able to fly, right? And she takes a picture of it, and it's like, I'm just trying to get on my flight. Like it's like, bro, like how tone deaf can you be? Like, do you
you don't understand the situation?
Exactly. Like that's exactly why they're protesting, because they can't get on flights.
Come on, man.
But like anyways, so yeah, they're not gonna get rid of her.
No,
I don't know. But it depends on like the public outrage. Because if
sure.
the public outrage gets loud enough, it's like a Kyrie situation,
Yeah, we're gonna get into that in the sports talk part.
Yeah.
But my last question, and we're gonna get into sports. What drives you? What gives you the motivation every day to just the work that you've put in, with the Clarion Ledger, working with Jackson State, YouTube channel, just from where you are, like what drives you?
The fear of sadness. You get sad when you have time to think and just sit. Like it's like a very I spent the last 3.5 years of my life like living away from my home state, living in different states in apartments by myself. Like with that much free time, if I just sat there and just thought about how I was hours away and states away from all my friends and loved ones, I would just get really sad, and it wouldn't be a positive outcome. So just staying busy keeps me like from sadness.
Gotcha.
But I guess what like also motivates me to like continue to push the bar and stuff and become better is just all the people who like ever rejected me, like rejection from my childhood. So like I know a lot of people be like, that's childhood trauma you need to let go of. That's unhealthy. It pushed me this far. Like I use it a little bit to keep tugging and keep pushing me to get far. And I know
Right.
you have to address those traumas and everything like that. And I felt like I have over the pandemic because it forced you to sit down with your own thoughts. But that's what pushes me.
Okay. Okay. I respect that. I respect that. We're going to go into the sports topic. We're good on time. Rashard, because I know you've talked about the National Women's Basketball YouTube channel quite a bit. Who is the last year they came out with a report about how they're funded. I think they're getting below $1 million compared to the men, where the men are getting twice, triple what they're getting. Last season, we saw a great March Madness tournament. I'm still like recovering from my Lady Terps getting trounced, but they had the one ranked best offense in the nation, and then get and shellacked like that. I hold on real quick. The University of Maryland women's basketball team is going to get to the Final Four. Guaranteed. Okay. Just what are you looking for this year from last year? Like what team do you think is do you think stands are like your top? Who do you think's coming?
I think it's like 10 teams, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like 10 teams. And I say this all the time is you obviously start with South Carolina. Wait, hold on. Let me respect. You start with the defending champs, Stanford. You start with Stanford, then you go number one recruiting class, South Carolina. Then you go with UConn with two generational talents, and they bring back most of their team. Their team gets a year older, and they brought in 3 of the top 15.
Just for the record, real quick.
Yeah.
We played Taos University. The ladies got embarrassed. It was like they got 40 ball. It was like 112, like 49.
Oh my God.
I mean, it put us on the map, but I mean, we got trounced by UConn. I'm like, oh my God. Because we're actually in the same conference as UConn.
See, and that's the thing. Like everybody, like you're just proving the point that like everybody said UConn doesn't play any. Like if you guys are in their conference, come on now. Like what are we doing, UConn? But okay, so that's UConn. And the top 3 as well. Okay. And then you got who else? You have like you said, Maryland. Shout out to Diamond Miller. Shout out to Ashley Wusu. Shout out to Angel Reese. Shout out to Chloe Bibby. Shout out to Mimi Collins. Like y'all got a squad. Yeah, you have great size and great length, and can score the ball and good defense as well.
Yeah,
just a really good team. So that's Maryland, and then NC State.
I agree with that.
Bringing back my girl, Alyssa Kunane. And who else do they have over there? NC State. They have Diamond Johnson, I believe. They had Madison Hayes, who transferred over from Mississippi State. She was a 5-star over there. They have who else do they have at NC State? They had someone else who was also on the Team USA this past summer on NC State. And then you have Louisville. So that's 7. Haley Van Lith. They were one of the top teams last year. They lose an All-American like Dana Evans, but they bring in, I think, a pretty good class as well. So, I mean, just with another year of Haley Van, I think she should be able to, take that next step this season.
Okay.
Then you got Oregon. So where am I at now? Like I gave like 8 teams, right?
8 teams. 2 more.
So you got Oregon. They're a tough team as well. Led by Sedona, and but they also have a Satu's sister. And who else? Who
Okay,
else?
yeah, that's right. I thought she's a senior this year, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
she's projected. She's projected to go in like the first round. So it's like, like sister,
Yeah.
sister. But
Only concern is with her was his injuries.
Yeah.
But she's definitely gonna be in the draft.
Yeah, and then they have Tiana Papao from
Yeah,
Team
Tiana.
USA coming in the picture. I think she's going to be a freshman this year, so
yeah,
I'll be interested as well. That's 8. Okay. Trying to think of anybody. Indiana's really good. They were good last year. They made a good run. I think they went to like the Sweet 16 last year, and they returned a lot of good players as well. And then you can even go like for 10. You can go Iowa State, Iowa. You can go UGA. Like
Baylor,
women's basketball.
Baylor, LSU on that.
Oh, I'm tripping. Not LSU, not this year.
Okay.
Baylor, maybe. Baylor might be in the top 10.
Well, now they got Nikki Cohen. So
yeah. Shout out to Nick. I mean, she was a coach of the year a couple years ago in the WNBA. So she should be all right. Got a great staff. Shout out to Chloe, overtime Chloe over there on staff now.
Okay. Shout out to Chloe.
That's another one of my homies. I was trying to get her on like during the tournament, but like she says that she only like responds to FaceTimes and stuff, and I accidentally FaceTime her. And so when she FaceTime back, I was like, "Oh, I don't know what to do. I'm not in FaceTime." Like, so like that was just an awkward moment, and like she never came on the channel. But yeah, but shout out to yeah. I mean, but now it might be tough because she's with the program now, so I don't know if she can just do media stuff like she used to.
Right.
But yeah. Who else? That was Oregon. Oh, that's Baylor. You're talking about Baylor. Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, people are talking about UCLA as a sleeper. I'm one of the sleepers. So yeah, they'll just have to prove me wrong.
Well,
Iowa
after
can make
Michaela and Monique came out. Yeah, I mean, I haven't followed UCLA.
I mean, but people are talking highly about them, so they have to have something. You know what I'm saying? Like people are like everybody's being like UCLA, like they're including them in their list. So me personally, like they, I was talking to who was that a couple of months ago? It was Tarika Foster Brasby. How she was like, how East Coast can like literally sleep on Pac-12 teams because we're asleep when they're playing.
Right.
We don't watch them that late. So those are other teams that they could a team from the Pac-12 and Arizona, even though they're missing their star player now, maybe they do something. I don't know. All right, who is the team that Iowa can get hot? That's the team that I'm looking at.
Iowa definitely can get hot. Rashad.
Yeah. If you get hot in the tournament, what does it take? It takes like what 4 wins to get to the Final Four.
Yes,
they can do that. So I'm looking at Iowa State with Ashley. I believe you pronounce it Jones, her last name, but she spells it with the E before the N.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, so Ashley, like she's tough too. So, like I said, man, it's 10 teams that can legitimately win the championship this year. At least 8, and it's not like a foregone conclusion of who the top 4 teams are. Like, I know everybody is easy to say Stanford, UConn, South Carolina, and Maryland, but it's not a foregone conclusion.
I'm still not over that, man. We lost to Texas. We lost to Charlie Collier.
Oh my God!
I'm not over that. We gonna get a revenge.
Yeah, I mean, talking to Diamond, I don't know if you saw that. I interviewed Diamond over like August or something like that.
I did see that.
She was just sounded very motivated from it, and because they shouldn't have lost that game. Like they know it, we know it. They shouldn't have lost that game. So
Charlie,
for sure, shout out to Vic Schaefer though. Vic Schaefer, get them girls right. Like it says something when someone gets further than what they're supposed to do. He was the coach from Mississippi State when they beat UConn. So
Tierra McCowan, Victoria Vivens.
Yeah. And Little Morgan hit the shot.
Yeah, Little Morgan. Vic Schaefer is a good coach. Very good coach. But I think it should be a great basketball season. And I really do hope what the changes that the reports that they found that hey, these women can play the game of basketball just like the men's. So I mean, I think it was just wrong to see that they're with 5-pound weights and yoga mats. That's meanwhile like that's nothing.
Yeah, for sure. I think the craziest story in college athletics this year that not many people are talking about that I've recently brought up, like kind of briefly brought up, is like I think for the first time in my life, the biggest athlete in all of college athletics is a woman. It's Paige Beckers.
Paige Beckers out of UConn. Yeah.
She's bigger than anybody in college football. She's bigger than Bryce Petty or Bryce Young. I'm sorry, Bryce Petty. She's bigger than Bryce Young. She's bigger than who else?
I know you've talked about her on the channel because there's another YouTuber. I'm not sure if you've probably heard of him, Sports Streams Network. I know you did a video with him.
Yeah. I did a video reacting to him because people are like, "Can you react to this guy?" It used to be people used to talk about him in like the comments like of the games, and they were like, "Yeah, that Sports Network dude doesn't know what he's talking about." I was like, "Did I do something?" And they're like, "No, his channel is named Sports." I was like, "Oh, okay." And that's when I was first put on his radar. Was from like people just complaining about him in my comment section.
Right, because I know he did a video. He's done quite a few videos on Paige and then Caitlyn too, which I'm like, okay, you praise one and then you tear one down. Like,
gotta get them clicked.
I guess so. Are you for men's college men's basketball? Like, who are you looking forward to?
No one, but shoot. If I had to say anybody, all right. So you got Chet and Gonzaga.
Don't put Maryland on that list.
I'm looking at Auburn because just of like ATL ties with Katie. He transferred from Georgia UGA to Auburn. That's just some Atlanta stuff that I'd be like keeping track of.
Right.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, like I said, like I'm locked in on the women's game.
Right. I respect that. What got you interested in the WNBA?
I've always been interested in women's basketball, like just kind of growing up because it was like I said, I mean the crowds used to be larger too when I was a kid, when I was like really young. So like watching as a kid, you just saw packed crowds during the summer, and they played when the NBA wasn't. Right. So as a kid, like I just looked at the WNBA as like the equivalent to the NBA, and then like throughout the years, as years went on, like it felt like the crowds were getting emptier and emptier. And then like with social media, it was people were just telling like the kitchen jokes and all these whack jokes. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, is it a big deal to support the WNBA? Like it was just weird to me. It's like there's a weird realization of like people don't support the women's game. Like it's wild that like there's no difference. Like it's a little lower scoring. That's it. So I've always supported the women's game. And then, but really with YouTube, I really started pursuing YouTube. Like I've had the channel forever, but I started pursuing it for real, April 2020. And then doing that, I was doing NBA draft reactions and stuff. And then when basketball came back with the Wnba, I was reacting to women's basketball over there.
Did you ever get an opportunity? I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you ever get an opportunity were you asked to, hey, we'd like you to cover this team, exit interviews, different things like that?
Yeah. I used to do a couple of dream games with Rolling Out magazine back like way back when, like 2018 and stuff like that. And I like one of my favorite, I guess the biggest moment that I've done with W was Skylar Diggins-Smith. She said before the season that there needed to be, more Black women curating like women's sports stories for Black women. Yes. And then so in Atlanta, it was like Autumn Johnson. Shout out to Autumn. She was interviewing her. LaChina's in Atlanta, and like Autumn's camera person was a Black woman, and it was another Black woman there too. So it's like I was the only dude in the scrum. So I was like, you talked about it in an article before the season. When you look in front of you and you see this, like, how does that make you feel? Like, hopeful for the future of like kind of sports media? And she was like, that's not to take away from what you do as a male writer, but it's important that we have these black women. That did pretty well because she challenged ESPN in that. So
Right.
it did well.
Did you ever get a chance? Did you do any Wubble games last season?
No, I didn't do any Wubble games. I haven't covered the W, like with like actual WNBA players, since 2018, and it's crazy because for years I was like looking for people to write for. Like I was begging people, like, let me write about the WNBA. Like, can I write about the WNBA for you? Like, I just needed an outlet to get the credentials and stuff like that.
Right.
And then reaching out to them myself, like I wasn't big enough myself with my own stuff to get access. So that's something I'm still battling with, man. I'm still battling with.
So we get into W.
Wait, hold on, Nate. I didn't get to finish. So this is what. No, you're all right. No, don't. It wasn't like a rude like let me finish. It wasn't like that. It's just to explain to people what happened. So, anyways, like I was just doing a bunch of YouTube videos, right? And then like the women's, it just caught on. It just caught fire. Like the Paige Becker stuff in particular. And people just kept asking for it. People kept requesting it. So that's really when like my whole kind of shift just went more women's basketball than anything else. I still pay attention to the men's game and the NBA. Like I said, I just love the game. I'm just a fan of the game, regardless of who's playing. But that's where it really took off of me like locking in fully on women's basketball this past year.
Respect. So we're going to get into the WNBA. First, I'm going to ask like your overall opinion of the season so far. The awards, did you agree with the awards? Who got snubbed? And then we're going to talk about the playoffs.
I think the rookie class was really underwhelming this year. Like,
agreed.
Wasn't
Relationship with your children.
My God.
the rookie class wasn't really good this year, and
very disappointing.
That's like the main takeaway that I have. So it's kind of like Wnba when she won. It was like, okay, who else? Like, of course, she had a great season, great start to the season as a rotational player and a starter, but there wasn't like, you have to think last year, Kenny Carter was averaging 18 points. She led her team in scoring. Crystal Dangerfield was, she was only averaging like 14, 15, but the type of like moves she was doing was crazy. And, she bolstered and helped lead Minnesota to the playoffs along with Fee and stuff. So, and Lexi, shout out to Lexi. She had a great season last year.
Yeah. And also too, you and I were on, cause Lexi Brown for a little bit was doing her little YouTube thing.
Yeah.
I would see you on there a few times.
Man, I'd be supporting Lexi for real.
Yeah.
Like that's slime. But like I don't know the lady. I ain't never met her, but she's from Atlanta. She's from Gwinnett. Shout out to the North. But like I support her because she's from Atlanta. And then she's always like been interactive too. Like because she always been like Instagram famous. So she posted one thing after a game against UGA in the tournament, and she killed UGA like knocked down like 3 consecutive threes in the second half, and like she was just killing them. So like she posted on Instagram, like of course the comments is just hard eyes and like I love you and stuff like. But I was just like, dang, you ain't had to do my dogs like that, and she liked it, and I was like surprised she like interacted with people like that. And then I even got into like a debate with her in the comment section about. She thought it was a stupid idea to say that the Wubble was going to be a distraction from social justice. Okay, fast forward a year later, sports are back. We're 2 seasons into it, and no one's talking about George Floyd anymore. But that's just a fact. No one's talking about Breonna Taylor anymore. No one's talking about Ahmaud Arbery anymore. Nope. Those cases are still. I mean, George Floyd isn't still going on, but the other cases are still going on.
Right.
There's plenty issues that we hear about. We see them like the missing black people stuff, and we kind of hear about it, and then it's like, but did you see what LeBron did last night? So it's like, I kind of proved my point. Anyways, so I had a little back and forth with her
You
about
can
that.
touch on the LeBron if you would like. You can touch on the LeBron point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was pretty much it. That was it. It's just, we live in a generation where everything is so, like this week the hot thing is Courtney Williams, and it's like, it was people in the comment section, if they don't like what I said about the Courtney Williams, it's like, Rashad, why are you saying it? Like 2 weeks, they're not gonna care about this Courtney Williams thing. But the messed up part is, who will? Courtney Williams, because she's still not gonna have a team to sign. You know what I'm saying? Like this is real life for Courtney Williams and Crystal Bradford for a trending topic this week. So it's like people fake care a lot because stuff moves the world moves so fast.
So fast. I agree.
And then it's just like, so like that whole thing last summer, I was surprised how long it carried on, because it's like, especially as Black people, like we've seen it firsthand of like, everybody cares and we do this march and Musa, and then like it goes back to normal in a couple months. And the same thing happened. It's like, dang, another one and another one. So like last summer, how long it kind of lasted, it was different. It was
it definitely felt different. I did a video. It was right after when Jacob Blake had gotten shot. I think I kid you not, I think it has like 140 something views. And it's just me just venting just how I felt, because I actually literally I was like about to start crying in the video.
Yeah.
Because the biggest question in the video that I was trying to add, with the WNBA, NBA, and a couple, I think the Milwaukee Brewers, they had postponed their games. Like, what was the plan? What was the next step? We're just, the games were postponed. We done for the season. We sitting out for a few games. And it kind of just didn't, everybody was kind of like, we need to go back to playing basketball. And I kind of was like, well, then what was the point of postponing games if we're going to turn around and say, well, let's just play basketball? Because like, what point did we get across?
So you're saying, so that's the LeBron point you're talking about when you're saying LeBron. Is that what you're talking about? Because LeBron was in a meeting, allegedly, reportedly, talking about let's play these games. Like, we're in a bubble, we came this far. Like, I'm trying to get this fourth ring.
No, I think he was on. I remember he tweeted out, "This is BS." I think it was the Lakers and the Clippers. I think they were the only two teams that wanted to leave, and everybody was like, "No, we came here to play basketball. Let's just finish out the season, go home, and do what." I think LeBron may have said. I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, the world moves so fast. Even though it was one calendar year ago, it feels like it was 2 seasons ago.
That's crazy. 2
like
seasons.
The NBA Finals to this day, a year ago, from 2020 was last year to this day, and we're 2 seasons. It's crazy. Stuff is moving really fast, but yeah, man, that was pretty much the thing. It's just like our attention spans are so short, dude.
It's not even funny.
Like, just even in this interview, I've gone from like, what was I talking about again? And I do that all the time now. And it's like, because that's what the phone has programmed me to like think. So it's like, we can make these things such serious issues and act like we care about them. But, at the end of the day, if Sharif Cooper comes down the lane and throws a alley-oop to John Collins, that's what we're talking about for the next day. We're not talking about what Black person is missing and what type of injustice is still going on, because it hasn't stopped. It's just as bad as it was in June 2020, if not worse. But, it's like, what do we spend our time on talking about Courtney Williams' video? Exactly.
That's a very good point. I agree with you about coming back into the WNBA. I agree that this class was very disappointing. I'm not going to play the R. Kelly clip. I'm not going to play it again. My sleeper was Kaiser Gondrezick. I understood she was my sleeper pick. Because again, certain games you can't get in regions, but I know a whole personal thing. I know her father passed away this year. But I know she's also had done it before. I believe she was at Michigan State and kind of left for personal reasons and did it at West Virginia.
Yeah, I think she was at Michigan.
Michigan.
the Michigan folks, if they hear that, they're gonna be no.
I apologize, Michigan.
I think it was Michigan, and then I think. Hold on. Let me look this up. But why? Keep going. I'm sorry.
But yeah, she was my sleeper. I think Indiana was a good fit for her because I felt like they were going to give her I think Danielle Robinson was brought there to kind of mentor, and then give her the keys. I hope she does come back next season, which I'm sure she will. But it's kind of weird. She just hasn't been on Twitter, hasn't been on Instagram, hasn't done anything. Last thing I remember she got the sponsorship with Wilson.
That whole thing was crazy. Thing was crazy. But it was Michigan, by the way.
Michigan,
but it's just I don't know, man. I just hope she's doing well mentally.
Yeah, I hope she is too.
It's like you go away, like a person that's like making money off of social media and popping off social media. It's probably making way more off the court than she is on the court, especially with a rookie contract.
Yeah,
like it has to be some type of serious for you to just be like, forget this, for whatever is going on. So
right, I agree with that.
I just hope she's doing well. But even on the court, like when she did get a chance, this limited playing time, and it was just a reach, man. It was a reach. But she was cold in college. I'll be the first person to tell you that. I was reacting to like most of her games this past season.
Yeah,
she was cold in college, but it's like that size and everything. Like there's an adjustment in the W. And I just think it's going to take her a couple of years to adjust. And, will she eventually get it? We'll have to see. But the W is 144. And all 144 of them jokers can play.
They can. But yeah, again, like I said, this draft class was really – I mean, I did a couple of videos talking about Rookie of the Year. I said it. I was like, man, this draft class, no one stood out. I mean, there was it was a distant – first place, second place, third place. Like, when I mean stood out, I had Michaela, Didi, Charlie. I mean, it wasn't neck and neck. It was just, and I feel like some of that was COVID, maybe lack of preparation, maybe the transition.
It was COVID last year, That because that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, there's a lot of things. It's like, okay, it's a weird year, the pandemic. I'm like, last year was a pandemic. Kenny Carter averaged 18, right? Scored 35 against Seattle, against Steve Bird and them, and you know what I'm saying, on national TV.
Maybe it's the coaching. Like Vicky Johnson has two. She has you have the number one overall pick, and you're not giving her minutes. Like, what's that about?
You preaching now? You spitting?
I don't know. I'm sitting there going like, how could your number one overall pick? I mean, she ain't got to be playing 40 minutes, but she should be. You got Isabel Harrison out there more than Charlie. Like,
hey, hold on. She had a great season.
Listen, I love Isabel Harrison. She had a great season. But I'm saying, like, come on, man, you gotta give
Charlie our YouTube channel.
Yeah, check out our YouTube channel if you hadn't already. We're not going to talk about the Washington Mystics because I still am not recovered.
Relationship with your
children. My God.
I just haven't. I'm disgusted still. I cried when we didn't. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't cry. Kind of concerned about that. Tina Charles she is a free agent. When I look back at her contract, I was like, oh, she's signed next year. No, she signed for this season. So I hate to see she just walk away and nothing to show for it. So we're in the lottery. I don't know what we'll get. Last time we were in this position was 2016. We got Elena. So some of these girls, man, they just didn't fit our system. Who else? The Los Angeles Sparks.
Well, with Washington, it's like I think the Dream blew like a 20-point lead against Washington, and Washington came back and won that game this season. That was frustrating on the other end to watch. And then, it was just weird, man. It was just, it's just tough breaks. Like, what can
Yeah.
you do when it's just Tina Charles? But I mean, Tina Charles, like, if you're supposed to be that person, they tried to throw you in an MVP candidate, because you
Well, we
like
could put
leading
her
the
in the
lead in
score. We could give her
scoring.
the scoring title
Yeah, Tracy McGrady.
because that's not what I don't think that was the intent. I mean, when you got when you got Ariel Atkins can shoot. Trust your eyes out of Texas. Maisha Hines Allen, Natasha Cloud. She definitely to me had the first half of the season was very disappointing. For where she was from 2019 to now, she just really was very her numbers just diminished, particularly shooting wise. Some of the role players, like I was really mad. Like I was like, damn, like Lele Coates for the games that she was here as a Mystic, damn, she should still be on the team defensively because we got no bodies, in the paint interior wise. I'm
Shout
like,
out
damn,
to Dream Legend Miss Coates.
yes, Kalani Brown would have been a good option, but
Shout
Coach
out
T,
Lonnie.
Coach T, man, like he makes me want to put my head through a wall sometimes because he just picks these girls. Let me get off that.
But it's like you gotta think, man. Like y'all missing one of the greatest players of all time.
Elena Delaby.
And then like Clark, like one of the most important glue players. Like that's a big reason why Seattle didn't look like Seattle this season because they
I
didn't
agree.
have Clark. Like so, like to miss Clark for most of the season, or no, all the season, to miss Del Don for most of the season. Like
And
it's
then
just
also
like
too, there was a lot of injuries. Maisha was out
exactly
second half.
that way you guys and like Tina Charles that game against I was about to say the Hawks against the Dream when the Dream blew like a 20-point lead. I think Tina Charles wasn't even playing that game because she was like at some play or something like that. Like she was at a play.
Yeah, she had a oh my gosh, she had a premiere for
Yeah,
like a movie she was doing.
Yeah, and they still came back and beat like y'all had 6 players that game and they still beat the Dream. It was very sad, very sad.
Yeah. So I'm gonna transition into the playoffs. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta pick my pride off the floor because I guaranteed the Connecticut Sun would be in the WNBA finals. And last night they lost to the Chicago Sky.
Bullshit.
I don't know what to feel about that. The Las Vegas Aces look like the team I expected them to look like last night after that lackluster performance in Game 3. Rashad, help me out, please, because I need to pick my pride off the floor. It has to be picked up.
Well, first things first, man. Like I hate to hear it. Can't relate, unfortunately. My agenda's still very strong. Either Candace is getting her second ring or Asia's getting her first ring. My agenda is very strong, very alive. And people said, no, I think Connecticut's going to win it all. No, I don't see this team losing. I don't see this team. I don't think Asia can come back from 2-1. The agenda's looking very strong right now today. So, Big Nate, while I apologize and I feel bad for you, brother, I can't relate. I'm sorry.
So let me ask you a question because I kind of want to get into this a little bit. I saw the video on YouTube and the video was taken down. The person's channel has been taken. He took all this, put his videos on private, I guess. Made this video because Don Stanley after Game 3 tweeted about they need to I'm basically paraphrasing, but saying they need to appreciate Asia Wilson more. Like what do you think? Like, okay, in my personal opinion, I believe it's Asia's team. Okay, I just think with Liz, she's coming off a bout of COVID. Chelsea Gray was nowhere to be found. Kelsey Plum, Raquana Williams, and Dearica Hand, they can do only so much. Bill Lambier, I think I talked about in the last episode, They got to make the adjustments. Shooting wise, they looked better. Phoenix looked like, oh my gosh, like you like in boxing, you up on the ropes and you about to get knocked out. The referee goes. That's what it looked like. So, how did you feel about last night's games?
Man, so I think coming out the gate, like Asia was more aggressive because it was like they were down by 10, like
Yes.
or like 9 or something like that early on. It's like, dude, this is an elimination game. Get it together, Vegas. And I'm like, Asia, where are you? You're still nowhere to be found. And Asia, like, it's like she heard me through the screen and she started getting aggressive, calling for the ball, getting the ball down low, getting to her spots to where she needed to get the ball, was working them jokers down low with the footwork. It didn't matter if you were taller than her, whatever, BG, BT, Bree Turner and stuff like that. Like, she just took them all, and she was being aggressive, hitting her jumpers, hitting the mid-range, bank shots off the glass, using everything around the rim, around the basket, or around that kind of short range. So I don't know, man. Like, she was aggressive, and that really got it kickstarted. And then like her energy on defense is really what ignited them on offense. And that's what, like, what I'm saying. So it's like I was talking to someone and they were last night and they were like, oh, Asia, she didn't do it. They didn't win because of Asia. She only had 15 points and 8 rebounds or 10 rebounds. I was like, dude, like, you watch the game, she got them off to that fast start. That kind of opened up the floodgates for them eventually. And, as you said, Chelsea Gray wasn't doing anything earlier in the series. But now you got the point guard. Like, point guard is back. Point guard bite. And then you also have Cam Page hitting at least a 3 or 2 and stuff like that. So, I mean, they're doing what they need to do now.
I wanted to ask you about that because in the video they said it's they were saying it's Liz's team, and I'm saying how could it be somebody's team, especially they just come off a bout of COVID, and COVID you could already see like she can't, especially it was a game one, like she couldn't even get up the court. Like, that's how much out of energy she is, and they were saying, well, Asia's very limited, it's something about you South Carolina fans. They, I'm not saying this. This is what the person said in the video. They're basically trashing Asia, saying she's very limited. She's one-dimensional, and this is what you South Carolina and Dawn Stanley deserve. And I feel like I don't think she's limited. I just think, really, in my personal opinion, the offense flows better through her. Rashad, help me out.
I think Liz is the most talented player on the team, most talented big. I think, most talented big in the league. Some people would be like Jonquel Jones, but I don't know. Liz can do everything, bro. Like, so can Jonquel.
Yeah.
But Liz can do, like, just naturally. Doesn't mean she's the best player.
The only thing with Liz is she's got to control her temper.
Well, it's a few things, but she's dealing with a lot. Like the mental health stuff. So it's just like,
yeah, I mean, we talked about that.
It's always a slippery slope thing with those things. So
yeah, especially I know with the I didn't mean to cut you off. Finish.
No, you good. Go ahead.
I know a few a few players have come out and addressed her. When is the accountability? She keeps getting away with this stuff.
Yeah, I remember that now. I forgot about that. I remember that now.
Because she.
It's a touchy subject, so I'll just say it like this. I'll say it like this. It's like for what we see on a consistent basis, I think Asia has proven to be the leader of that team, like the best player of the team and the leader of the team. And then the one-dimensional stuff is like, bro, like, what about Tim Duncan? Do people just like automatically forget the career of Tim Duncan? Like, what did Tim Duncan do outside of mid-range? Like, what? Like, I literally reacted to Tim Duncan highlights just to make sure. Like, he stayed in the same area his entire career.
Yeah.
And he's the greatest power forward of all time.
Yeah.
And a top 5, top 10 player of all time, period.
Yeah. And
so Asia Wilson, who can shoot the 3, but Bill Laimbeer doesn't give her the opportunity to.
No.
But for Asia Wilson to dominate in the area that he does allow her to operate in, why isn't she considered in the same light? Why is it, oh, she's not better than player X because player X can shoot the ball and player X can dribble the ball like a guard and shoot? It's like, I don't think that necessarily makes him a better player.
I agree.
Like, I think there's a difference between most skilled and best player.
I agree with that. Very good point. Good point. Who do you think wins Game 5? Like, what do you think? What do you think? Because I'm gonna put you on the spot here, and you got to Gary, and I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask another question. With that, what do you think? Who do you think is going to win Game 5? What do you think are the keys to winning Game 5?
I have Vegas winning Game 5,
Okay.
and that's literally only because my agenda. Like, I pushed it so far, I got to stick with it, and I really want the Erica to get a ring this year.
Yes.
So, like, to bring that back to the city. So, dang, where am I going with that? What are the keys? Okay, here are the keys. So, like, they really just have to pretty much do what they did. Like, I mean, the shooters aren't going to be that hot. Like, Rikina Williams and Kelsey Plum and Chelsea Gray, like, they're all not going to be as hot as they were at the same time, right? And as they were in Game 4. So it's just like, okay, Asia still has to get them off to that fast start. If Chelsea Gray can give you what Chelsea Gray can give you, and then Kelsey can give you like a decent performance, but De'Erica can give you the type of performance that she gave at the beginning of the series when she was like the only player playing really real for them, you put yourself in a position to win. But like that fast start, getting off to the fast start is important because you get the crowd behind you in Vegas. Once you get the crowd behind you in Vegas, you know, DT is the only one, DT and Sky, they're the only two that can really just kind of like cut through that because they're robots and just veterans in the game and stuff like that. So I think that's the keys to the game. And for Phoenix, I mean, it's pretty much just playing the way they have nothing to lose. You know, they're the team that played first round against New York. You know, they weren't even supposed to get this far. So it's like they're playing with house money right now. And so I think it's really like DT's always been a wild card in the series. And for the entire season, she hasn't scored 30 points all season. And then all of a sudden she scores 37 points
in 25 minutes.
And they blow up my phone talking about, Rashad, you doubt it. I was like, no, I just said literally the facts. She's been the third option on the team this season. It's been Skylar and BG all season long.
I think it also starts with them too. I agree.
But you know, people people ignore it or whatever. I'm the hater, whatever. But yeah, man. So like, it really just depends on if one of those guards can get it going. Whether it's Shea Petty, whether it's Sky, whether it's DT. You know, because BG is gonna get hers regardless. Yeah. And Breonna Turner has got hers a lot this series too.
I agree. I wanted to real quick congratulate Diana Taurasi. I know Penny Taylor, her wife, is actually due any day, so congratulations to both of them. I know, Rashad, I'm going to defend you. You never once criticized Diana Taurasi. I do agree she was the third option. I do believe that Skylar Diggins, it's with her. For me, they got her there for a reason. I've seen the way she can do for Notre Dame when she was with Tulsa and then Dallas. You know, it starts with her. Brittany Griner, like you said, she's gonna get hers. You know, especially in New York. I mean, they at one point in the game had her triple teamed. Like I've never seen that. That's something you see on 2K when you're playing Rec League or something like that. And I'm like, they just triple teamed her. But no, it starts with it. Just Phoenix just has to play like as Brittany said it too. I play like it's an elimination game, but I think also too their bench has to step up. Las Vegas too, like you said, they got to play with that same intensity. But Bill Laimbeer made the adjustments. I'm going to go with Las Vegas. I'm going to give the Las Vegas Aces. They're going to go to the Wnba Finals. I said it last year, and I'll say it again on the record. If Derek Hamby doesn't get hurt, I don't think the Seattle Storm win the NBA WNBA. They don't win the championship last year. Guaranteed. So the Las Vegas Aces, they will win. I'm sorry, as it's now Friday where I'm at. So today they will win Game 5.
Guaranteed.
So let's transition to Chicago versus Connecticut.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
Just for the record, I have nothing against Candace Parker. Candace Parker is one of my favorite basketball players. I just was very disappointed in them collectively as a unit. The inconsistency. I would not expect a team like that on paper to be exactly 500. Steffi Dawes is no joke, former Washington Mystic. I'm a fan of Diamond DeShields. Azora Stevens. Vandersloot Quigley.
Azura.
Thank you. I apologize.
Azura Stevens. Yep. Azura Stevens.
Azra, I apologize. Let me pick your name up off before I just drop. Azra Stevens is no joke. Quigley Vandersloot, no joke. Copper, former Washington Mystic, no joke. Dana Evans contributing, and Lexi Brown. I had Lexi Brown. I'm still mad at her because she went to the University of Maryland, and she went to that school, and I'm not letting that go. Anthony, what's good, sir? Good to see you. Good to see you. Connecticut, I saw some tweets. I disagreed with it. I don't think it was Alyssa Thomas. Like I said, when she came back off the injury, it was great to see her back on the court first and foremost. She messed up the chemistry. I think, honestly, I disagree with that. I think it was coaching. I looked at Kurt Miller and the adjustments he made. I don't know why Brianna Jones was not out there.
Coach of the year, Kurt Miller?
Yeah, can't call it, might spoil it. Interesting. What do you mean by that, Anthony? What do you mean by that?
You asked how he was doing, and he said, can't call it, might spoil it.
Oh.
like that's how he's doing, yeah.
Okay.
I get what you're saying, my man.
Okay. But I mean, like Brianna Jones, I think only played like less than 25 minutes. This is your most improved player. You know, the guards, they got the guard play. They got it offensively. They got to be more consistent. That's what stood out to me. Your MVP. I'm a little disappointed.
For sure.
But
DB showed up though.
Definitely, DeWanda Bonner is a champion. She's gonna do her part. But them others,
Robin showed up.
Yeah,
Robin showed up.
I mean, they definitely did their part. It's just consistency. So old school player lingo. That's a good one.
I know. I'm from the South. I know. I picked up what you're laying down, my brother.
So, I mean, this is they've gotten to the conference finals. We saw them in the championship Mystics back in 2019. What do you think
about Connecticut?
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're good. I mean, they had like the best defensive team in the league. I think not getting to the finals is an underachievement for sure. It's just kind of it's a bit of a disappointment. But Chicago is also one of the 5 teams that I had in the middle of the season to be a contender for an NBA title, a WNBA title, just because of all the talent they had. And they really started to get it together in the middle of the year. After the Dana Evans trade, Candace came back a little more healthier towards the end. So it's like they were better than what their record indicated all season long.
I agree.
Like Lexi Brown, like remember at the beginning of the season, like Lexi Brown was cut, then signed, then cut, then like signed. Like they did that for a little bit. So
I think to the point where I think she was getting tired of it because I know she was on I don't know what podcast it was, but she was like on social media kind of. Some people say she was complaining. But
I mean, for good reason. Like if you just kept getting fired and rehired from your job, you'd be like the third time, all right, Jared, what are we doing here?
But yeah, Lexi Brown deserves to be on the NBA roster. I just wasn't understanding, particularly how Minnesota handled that situation with her. I know she had the concussion and the bubble, but to not even communicate with her, like, "Hey, we're not bringing you back," that's
bullshit.
So, but give me your outlook. Who do you like when I'm looking at this? This is an interesting matchup. Candace Parker is one of the best women WNBA ball players in the game. I don't know where that narrative came from that she's not the same. She the call the crowd. I don't know where that came from. Just for the record, this is just not for you, but this is when particularly with the WNBA. I feel like we have to. We're trying to kill these narratives that the media has spun. Now, in defense of Candace, bro, you are loving those sounds, right? I feel like it goes with. I think it feels like when I'm going with my conversation.
They're catching me off guard. A couple of them are. Like that's why they're like it's such a great reaction every time because I'm like, oh, all right, continue,
But,
Nate.
Man, I can't take anything away from Chicago because I was kind of critical of James Wade because I'm like, man, what you doing, man? Like some decision making. You had Katie Lou, to the point where her folks are tweeting about you, or he ain't a good GM, and Candace put her trust in him. I feel bad for Derek Fisher because I'm pretty sure Women's Hoops on Twitter was WNBA Jones. I can't remember who it was, but they were like, imagine Derek Fisher calling up Candace or Chelsea like, could you come back to Los Angeles, please? Because
He said, can you drive 90 hours, 30 hours?
But who do you see winning the WNBA finals?
This year, I still have my faith in Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
but Chicago's on a roll. So like I said, my agenda, I'm safe. If Vegas wins Game 5, I'm safe either way because I always said Asia's getting her first or Candace is getting her second. So but the pick that I had before the playoffs started, with my definite pick, was Vegas. So it was against Connecticut in Game 5, but yeah, I'm gonna still go with Vegas.
I had Washington, and that's egg on my face. And then
You
Connecticut.
had Washington winning it all.
Well, that was before I would have known that Tina, with the talent that we had, I wasn't expecting Della Dawn to be out that long. Sydney Weiss disappointing. Erica McCall, injuries. Maisha Hines-Allen, injuries. I think even at one point, Ariel Atkins, I think, was probably the most consistent one that all season. Tina got hurt. And then Alicia Clark gets hurt. I'm like,
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
what more do we need? So to have Washington and Connecticut not be in the final, not even Washington didn't even make the playoffs, and then they lose to Chicago last night. Because the reason why I connect because I'm a fan of Brianna Jones and Kalia Charles, University of Maryland, and Stephanie Jones too. Can't forget about her and Alyssa Thomas, all with the Maryland.
First things, and also this is way off topic, but you've kind of hinted towards a lot of DC area teams, DMV. I really like going back to hip hop. I really like the DMV kind of hip hop local scene, like Foggy Raw, and Rico's not local, but I really like Rico. And then who else? There's this girl Kesha or Kilo Latesha. I really like her too.
Okay.
And they're all in the DMV. So I like DMV's culture and music and stuff.
Respect.
That was a whole side note because you kept bringing up DC teams and stuff like that.
Well,
but yeah,
the DC teams. The Nationals. They let me get off that because
the Nationals have lost 2, and
that's the between the Orioles not making the playoffs for another this is now year 5, 6. I've lost track. The Nationals are different because they're in rebuilding mode because, they got a championship. With the Orioles, tons of musical talent in the DMV, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the Ravens, Lamar Jackson is again, I had to deal with mediocrity with Joe Flacco for a few years, and Lamar Jackson's and the culture that's definitely been changing for me, in my personal opinion. Washington football team, because that's my NFC team. We've been on a disappointing road so far. And
beat the Falcons.
Beat the Falcons. That was an ugly win. We really should be 1-3, not 2-2. Cordero Patterson looked like the second coming of Walter Payton.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
The Wizards.
Y'all got Kyle Kuzma.
I like Kuzma. I like Harrell. If the team looks a lot better, guarantee. They look better. I kind of expect them to be in the middle of the road team, but they definitely picked it up. So
I really like Danny Aldiot. Like he was another thing that really boosted my channel too. Shout out to Danny.
Yeah, absolutely. This is only the kind of last topic of the interview, and then we're going to have a closing question I want to ask you. I'm a Falcons fan, and if Washington football team hadn't won, I would have come back to DC because my birds suck. That's a good one, Ed. That's a good one. We've both talked about the Atlanta Dream on our channels respectively. At first, I started talking about Atlanta about a couple months ago, particularly what happened with Kennedy, and then to see the drama that has unraveled. You've seen the video. I've seen the video of the fight. Just for the record, the 6'8" stallion, Connie Brown, she looked good. Okay, she looked good in that video. I think the whole situation in Atlanta, it's just been very dysfunctional.
Bullshit.
There's a lack of accountability, lack of leadership. I mean, Rashad, check this out, right? So I'm on Twitter, and this is what a person that obviously is on the side of Courtney and her wife, right? This was their response to me. Carter was fighting teammates. Williams is fighting in defense. Where's the comparison? Like, here's the thing. We really truly don't know what happened in that locker room. Rashard, you can speak to this because you are an athlete yourself. There's going to be moments like that in the locker room. So, to me, this is more of a, I'm not sure if you had this, and where you went to school, well, we're going to ice her out. She's going to be back on the team when we feel like it's best for us. That's what it felt like to me with Kennedy, how they treated Kennedy. And now, all these subliminal shots, they're taking each other on each other on Twitter.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
Every day, I hate to say it, but this is where I would expect Renee Montgomery as a part owner to take some leadership. But it kind of like sweeping under the rug and acting like there's no, her eyes are shuttered. Like, I don't see anything. Like she tweeted out, I can't wait to see this local and national coverage when we talk about good.
Bullshit.
Like, Rashard, like, how do you feel about the whole situation? Because like at this point, like, this is just getting ridiculous.
It's a loaded question of how I feel about the Atlanta Dream situation because there's so many situations. But I mean, it's a mess, man. It's a mess, but it was a mess that was becoming a mess in July, and then it just like they tried to kind of like hide it then and make it private.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, it was too public. Like everybody, like we already knew too much. Like the public already knew too much. So it was just like, it's just very messy. And it just kept getting, it's like, if you say, okay, so remember, like if you had to ever like make up your bed, right? And like do laundry, like fold the clothes. If you had like a pile of clothes on your bed and you had to make the bed, and like maybe like your mom was walking down the hall to like check your room or something, and then you just quickly just throw the cover, like the big old thing over all the
I
like
know
the
exactly what
clothes
you mean.
still piled up, and then just like did this or whatever to the cover, and then put the pillows on top, and then like sat on top of the bed and stuff to make it seem like the bed was made up and the clothes had been put away. Like, but in reality, you're just sitting on a lump of clothes under like the covers. Like, that's not really made up. I mean, that's pretty much what the Dream were doing. And then it just kept getting worse, and the pile of clothes just kept getting bigger and larger and larger. And before a while,
How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?
and with that, it was like, it got to the point where the pile of clothes literally started spilling from under the covers.
Yep.
And that's what we're seeing right now from this past week. Is literally the clothes spilled from under the covers. I mean, the thing is, like I said, with the Courtney Williams thing, it wasn't so much like the fight that I was like mad about, even though you shouldn't be fighting in public, like regardless of if you're public defense. It was the fact that she brought light to it herself. And people were saying, well, it was already circulating on Twitter. And like even Courtney was saying in the video that they were tagging like her, the Dream in it all season long and stuff. The thing is, I didn't know about it. You didn't know about it.
No.
Like no one knew about it. Maybe 300 people, maybe like the 100 people outside the club that day, and then their group of 5 friends. So maybe 500 people in the metro Atlanta area knew about it.
Right.
That was it. Like, you're talking about 500, 600 people in Atlanta compared to the 60,000 people on YouTube before she took it down. You're talking about.
Which makes no sense to me because you said it in the video. Why would you post it in the first place? And then I looked at it like, why are you making light of the situation? Like, this is what people see. This is what gets me about our society today. We don't think about. You said it yourself, and I also added something onto it. When we're in public, we don't think about the consequences. But you said it in the video. We got to move differently, particularly when you are of that high status. You not only represent yourself, your brand, but you represent the Atlanta Dream. You represent the Wnba. Like, this is the same Courtney Williams in the bubble. When they all had that little player meeting after the Jacob Blake shooting. People eat off me. I came in this bitch to get paid. Those were her exact words. I'm quoting that. So you would think, hey, look, like, whatever started, if someone disrespected you, look, you should. I said it clearly. You should always defend yourself, even if you feel like you're gonna get jumped. Defend that. We get that. What we're talking about is simply accountability, and that's something we haven't seen. And then for the Atlanta Dream, I'll let you know, and I'm coming back to you, Rashard, to literally go tell their agent, who, by the way, we'll get into a little bit, yeah, we're not going to re-sign them. So because pretty much, the ship is listing starboard side and port side. So we just thank you for their services. Oh, we're not gonna make a statement.
Bullshit.
So Atlanta, man, they got a clean house. I mean, I'm looking at their, some of those. I like Tiana. I really wish she was still with us. Cheyenne Parker, congratulations. I know she's pregnant. I don't know if the Kennedy situation can be repaired. Ari McDonald.
Oh, those are the only players under contract, by the way. The players you
That's
just
it.
named.
Monique, and then Monique, Elizabeth, they're all free agents. So, and it's kind of also to really discuss and really see, at first I knew something wasn't right, especially when Nikki Cohen left to go to Baylor, Mike Peterson before the All-Star break because of health reasons, and Spencer. Because he was really
Spencer Nesbaum.
Yeah, Spencer Nesbaum. He really was like in the trenches, like trying to figure out what was going on. He did an article about the whole situation and the Kenny Carter thing. It's just been a mess. It's been a complete mess, and I thought last night was a joke. Shout out to not Christina Williams, shout out to Christina Williams, but I thought the agent was talking out both sides of his ass. You come out here and you're pretty much saying, well, I understand what they did was wrong, but they the dream they got to take the L just as much as my players do.
And salute to Marcus, by the way. Like I said, like in my video, I was like, because he tried to bring up the black thing. I'm like, bro, like as a successful black man, like I said, like I ain't tearing down no black people, but like you're saying, your criticism of how he handled the live and how he was speaking is warranted according to your opinion. You know what I'm saying? And it's not tearing you down, brother. Like, we're proud of you to come from where you came from. Apparently, just doing some digging, he came from, being a ball player himself. So
Right.
Going from, it's always with athletes, you have this kind of like post-player career kind of crisis of who am I as a person? Because you can only play ball for so long. So, for him to find his footing and become a successful agent, he is an agent to a few players, I'm saying, around the league. So, I'm saying, we're proud of you with that, sir. And this don't have nothing to do with just tearing down a black man. So, I just want you to know that as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I mean, and again, that's one thing I want to ask you. I'm glad you brought up because that's my next point. When because you saw when we went live, but the intro, listen, I'm gonna criticize guys on the court. I'm never going to get personal. All I'm just wanting, we can all learn and grow from this, but it's how she conducted herself to make it a story time, and it kind of threw them under the bus, like that affects money. Like, think about that for Crystal Bradford, who's working, who's putting in that work. I think the last team she was on was in 2015 with the Sparks. She's kind of, trying to get opportunities. So there was a video by Sports Streams Network, and it's because he put all the videos on private, made a video, and these are the exact comments: ghetto, project, EBT, all that. I mean, personal. I mean, we're not talking. I mean, he was talking like, damn. I mean, nothing basketball related. I mean, just taking shots. And Rashad, as a journalist, because I mean, he last night in the whole video, and like he did a video like I saw earlier today, talking about I get things done, and I'm like, bro, what things did you get done? But that's a whole nother subject. That's a whole nother subject for another video. But it bothers me that we have people like that who say they support the WNBA. They say these things, but then when you turn around, you bash instead of criticize and hold accountable. as a journalist, how do you constructive criticism keep it to that aspect and not get personal?
I don't think it's a difficult thing. You just don't get personal. Like, but I don't know, because it's a line I still teeter with. Because I'll say something that I thought was all right. Like me, like I make a bunch of jokes when I'm talking. You
Yeah.
know, and the jokes might offend some people. They might see it as like, oh, that wasn't funny to me. You know what I'm saying? I found that offensive. And then I have to deal with that. And so that's something I'm still trying to figure out. But I just know, like, you always got to live, in my opinion, I always got to live with, like, will I say this to the person's face? You know what I'm saying? Anything I say on camera, even talking to my friends, like one-on-one, like, it's just kind of, it's a biblical concept of sorts, like,
Absolutely.
don't gossip. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like it's gossip if it's something that I'll say behind someone's back, but not to their face. Like, and another thing, like, I can't smile on people's faces and then say something bad about them, like, behind their back. I just can't do that. I can't, I just couldn't live with myself like that. So if I don't rock with you, I don't rock with you. Like, I'm not going to, like, try to dap you up and smile and have small talk with you. I'm going to keep it pushing because I don't rock with you.
I agree.
So I think that's where it goes with, like, what is the line of going too far with someone. It's just
he went far, especially with the whole, making homophobic comments.
Well, the thing is, all right. So I've addressed them a couple times on the channel because I already did the one reaction to him, and then it was like someone was like, "Hey, Rashad, will you speak out on this? This is important." Like I would do it, but I don't have a platform like you have. Like, so I was just like, man, at the end of the day, like, folks, first things first. Like I said, I ain't trying to tear down no black people. This man just trying to get his money. I'm sure he's monetized. He gets some very good views on a consistent basis every single day. He uploads probably like 3 times a day. You know what I'm saying?
He got like almost like 3,000 views on that one video.
Exactly. So, like, get your money, black man. Like, he's just trying to find a way. Like, everybody in this space is just trying to find a way to eat off their passion, off their creativity, and under the arts. So you know what I'm saying? So like, so I say that to, like, be like, yo, like, I'm not about to bash the man live, but some things that you have to say is like, okay, if you feel like some of the things that he says are disrespectful and he has a pattern of saying disrespectful things, and like you said with the EBT and everything, like, that stuff was in the thumbnail, that stuff was in the thumbnail. Like, the thing with him, he was calling, like, Paige Beckers. He's like, "Is Paige Beckers gay?" Like, he was doing videos like that a few months ago and stuff.
He even did one where he said, "Is Trevor Lawrence? He's a tranny."
Yeah.
And Tom Brady's a serial killer.
But it's like, they're kind of just outrageous statements to get people to click and to get people to be out mad at him and comment and just be like, "Yo, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a hater." At the end of the day, like, if you dislike a video, if you like a video, at the end of the day, it's engagement that plays in part of the YouTube algorithm that helps push it forward when people search these terms, and it just puts more money in his pocket. At the end of the day, he doesn't care if you hate him or not. He just cares if you're going to click or not. Yeah, and people keep clicking because it makes them mad. So it's like, you have the power as a viewer. You have the power as the YouTube surfer of, like, who are you going to give your click to? Who are you going to give your view to? And, and the more times you give, negativity and things that you don't agree with just to be mad at it, like why would you, like, it's YouTube, it's not TV. Even on TV, you had a choice to change the channel, but, like, with YouTube, it's even more so because you have, like, 3 videos on the same topic from 3 different channels.
Right.
You can click on another channel and watch that video.
Right, I agree with that. I'm not, like you said, not bashing. Just it's just, like, it has its opinion, and he's entitled to it.
But it's like 6ix9ine, right? It's like 6ix9ine, and who else? You can fill in the blank, whoever. Like, they do it because they get attention for it, because people get mad. So if you don't give attention to it, like we talked about this man for what, the past 5 minutes? Like, that's what he wants. I gave him an entire reaction video that has, like, like probably like 400 to 800 views. That's what he wants.
I agree with that. Definitely. But I want to go back. I'm gonna stop talking about Sports Streams Network. We're gonna talk about the Atlanta Dream. Going back into it. I'm gonna play a clip for you, Rashad. And I want you to because I love Inside the NBA. I love because especially former players who played the game, and I'm gonna start it off. I want to start off with a statement. I'm gonna play the clip. I don't understand today's athletes. The reason, and just stick with me, when I look at Atlanta, right? Kennedy is 21. Okay, we all know, we heard the stories. She could be a hothead, and you even said in your video, her nickname is Hollywood. Okay, now Tiffany is probably the longest vet on that team. Courtney. I don't know what Monique Billings stands on this. I don't know. I don't know really where Elizabeth. Well, actually, she kind of took the side of Courtney with the whole locker room incident. I don't know where Tiana stands, but there were multiple.
Tiana was by the way. She was liking tweets that were saying it's embarrassing to put that on YouTube. She was liking tweets that were saying that.
Okay, so then I can now know where she stands on that. Good to know. Because I definitely just a side note, I definitely was on Twitter. I was talking my stuff. Like I wasn't talking crap. I was just saying like, yo, this is a double standard. Kenny suspended for locker room altercation. What do you call this? And people actually still liking the tweet. Actually, it's amazing. But I emphasize leadership because when you look at today's players, some of them can be headstrong. I don't think that's Kennedy. Kennedy just wants to play the game. She loves the game of basketball. She said in a couple of interviews, she has a big heart. She just loves the game. But I feel like Atlanta has too many alpha dogs. So I'm gonna play the clip, and I want you to get a understanding of where I'm coming from. So I'm gonna play the clip.
Everybody got to play, and everybody got to go to
That's
work.
what we've been talking about pretty much all year. Guys, I never understand
why it has to be somebody's team.
Well, first of all, it is somebody's team, but being number two ain't bad. Like, it ain't like you're number two to, I don't want to call any players out. It ain't like you
Scottie Pippen.
Scottie Pippen was a hell of a player. Ain't no shame in being number two to Michael Jordan. Ken McHale's the best player I ever played against.
He's number two to Larry Bird.
Thank you. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It just amazes me at times how these guys, they worry about their brand, who's going to get the max. I'm like, yo, man, we out here to win. And it's frustrating watching some of this crap I have to deal with today, Ernie.
67-60.
Now, just follow me real quick, Sean, and I'll give you the floor. Kennedy was leading scorer last year. Okay? Rashad. I'm looking at it like this. Hey, this girl was leading scorer. Let's sacrifice. She just wants to win basketball games. Let's put our pride to the side, and we all have a mind. She's coming in here. She's young. I see where her mind's at. She's letting people know, look, I'm Hollywood Carter. I'm here to ball. And I kind of feel like you got some girls on the team. You need to get in line. This it don't work like that. Okay, the bubble was different, but nah, you ain't gonna take my numbers away. You gotta get in line. That's not how it works in Atlanta.
Bullshit.
So, but let me get your thoughts.
It starts with the construction of the team. I think they fired the GM and the president, Chris Cinco, a couple of weeks before the season started. That's where it started.
Relationship with your children.
My God.
Hey, so they got rid of Chris Cinco weeks before the season started. Then days before the season started, that's when Nikki Collin left.
Yeah.
So the season's about to start. You don't have a GM. You don't have a team president. And now you don't have a coach. Over the offseason, they drafted Ari McDonald, which I didn't necessarily get because you had Kennedy Carter.
Didn't
And
get that
then
either.
they signed Odyssey Sims.
Didn't
And
get that.
then Tiffany Hayes is like, I'm coming back this year. They all play the same position.
All position. I'm like, we got 4 point guards. Are you serious?
And they're all starting caliber. You know what I'm saying? So it was just, you were kind of doomed from the start because someone was going to lose their touches. Like Tiffany Hayes, like you said, she was an OG on the squad. So if Tiffany Hayes was the team's best player in 2018, of course, when she comes back in 2021, she's going to be like, Atlanta, this is my franchise, blah, blah, blah. Courtney, she won them that game. You know, we talk about a lot of Courtney's off the court. On the court, you know, she's a pretty darn good scorer,
Yeah, she
pretty
is.
darn good player.
Rashad.
At like the beginning of the season in New York, she hit 2 big shots in the final minute to help win them that game in New York. And, you know, in a post-game conference, you know, she was just saying how people were saying that her teammates were hyping her up, saying, you're not going to make the shot. And she's like, I took that personal. I took that personal. And she made both. You know what I'm saying? Like that's her. That's Courtney. So, you know, someone that, yeah, exactly. Someone that confident in themselves isn't going to want to take any fewer shots. And of course, the kid nicknamed Hollywood that left before their senior season, which rarely happens in women's game. Of course, she's going to have an ego. So it's just like, you got to blame the people who put the team together. Who thought this was going to work? And then the coach leaves. So it's just like, I don't know. They were doomed to fail. But I don't know, man. It was a mess from the start. It was really a mess from the start. And it kind of went the worst possible way.
I mean, you ain't lying. I mean, like people were making fun, like they found outside a food truck. Because that means I know it's a couple of Atlanta news, a couple of Atlanta news stations were like, yeah, 2 WNBA ball players fighting outside a food truck, and I'm like, oh gosh, like, see, like, and again, like, see how the media controls the Spencer narrative, ladies and gentlemen. But I say all that to say this. So we got a couple things. We all know Courtney Williams is going to be on the WNBA roster. She's not going to be banished from the league. Let's just get that out there, because she brings her game speaks for itself. Now, I guarantee you they're going to have a conversation with her, probably going to put a clause in their contract and say, look, we would look, because situations have followed you. Connecticut with Alex Bentley, and now this. You know, you gotta check that at the door. You know, we smell, we even sniff an ounce of trouble. You gotta go.
144.
That's just fair. Crystal Bradford, I think I would like to see her on the WNBA roster. I think it's just really weird that the Atlanta Dream, they knew about this and then turn around and go, well, unfortunate circumstances, we're not going to re-sign them, which is pretty much like throwing the white flag. We had nothing to do with this. We're going to push the blame on them. Let's make them be like he said. And I agree with what Marcus was saying in the interview with Christina. Shout out to Christina Williams, Black Girl Magic, doing her thing. But he said, you know, they wanted to make them out look bad. But it's even bad when you're franchise and a part owner who knew about this and still swept it on the rug and did nothing about it.
Bullshit.
The crazy thing is, Nate, you're a Ravens fan. That's the crazy part. Was Ray Rice sorry that he did it? Or was he sorry that the video came out and he got caught?
I think it's the video that he got caught, because also too the Ravens and the way that was handled. I was having a conversation. My dad and I were talking about. He should have got 8 games, easily 8 games. If they just gave him 8 games off the top, no problem. But 2 games, oh no, that's pretty much just sweeping it on the rug. And
how do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?
So I think that was it. If they just right off the bat 8 games, no issue. But I mean, but the NFL is a whole different thing. Roger Goodell, the owners, The great Herm Edwards once said on First Take, "Don't press send." I'm gonna keep that thought to myself.
Were the Dream really sorry, or were the Dream sorry that the video came out?
I think the Dream were sorry that the video came out, and I don't
If
think
you
that.
saw the video, because that's what Renee Montgomery, she addressed it on ESPN, and she said we saw a 10 to 15-second clip in May, and we were told it was self-defense, and we wanted to believe our players. And after seeing the longer version of the video, yeah.
That's
After
not what I
seeing
saw.
after seeing the longer version of the video, but we wanted to believe and protect our players. Even in the video and seeing the 40-minute explanation of the video, like you could say self-defense. That's not the point. The point is like you saw the video.
Right.
It's like you saw the video. So it's like don't come out and say like y'all blindsided about a thing or blah blah blah, because you weren't blindsided. You seen the video. You know what you saw.
Yeah.
You're just upset that it got out to the public.
Yeah.
And by
we
your
went
own
to
player.
town on it too.
By your own player.
We went on like that. We just no mercy. Twitter, Instagram. Going to town with. Just there. I think at one point they were trending on Twitter actually too. That's how bad it is. Like, when you're trending on Twitter as an organization because of that. Because that easily could. There's a better way to handle situations, y'all, as well. And I'm all about knuck if you buck, but I think one of them could have a gun. Because I think she even said in the video, one point one of them said, "I'm gonna come back and get my gun."
All I know is the video has been taken down, so all the specifics on the videos about what they might have said about the video has been taken down.
So it's a mess in Atlanta. But are they still talking about it down there, or does it seem like it's starting to just dissipate?
I think it's starting to fizzle out. I'm not currently at home, but I'll be home soon. So then I'll check out the temperature when I get back. But it seems like from afar, over here, that's what the talk over here is heavy. Well, first, salute to Diamond and Lexi. You know what I'm saying? 2 Gwinnett girls, 2 North girls, going to the WNBA finals. That's it first. And then second, everybody's talking about that Sharif Cooper to John Collins dunk. That's all everybody's talking about. And then the fact that that Hawks Cleveland game is 3 kids from Cobb County were on the court at the same time, which is Atlanta suburb. So, people are talking about that around the city.
I respect that. That's respect. That's respect. My last question about the Atlanta Dream, and then we're gonna. I got one more question for you. Then we're gonna end the episode. What do you think with the Atlanta Dream? I know you said it starts with the construction team, but going forward, what do you think the Atlanta? This is a 2-part question. Excuse me. What do the Atlanta Dream need to do in the off season, and what do you think going forward has to happen? Because now at this point, oh snap! Well, you said you're from the South. I didn't realize you were from the GI.
Yes, sir, man. I'm from split household, halfway Mob County or Cobb County, and then the suburbs, and then halfway Southwest Atlanta, off of Cascade Road and off of Camp Creek Parkway, by the Camp Creek Marketplace.
And just for the record, Rashad, he does college football. Also, good impersonator. He went to school with Shannon Sharp. This is Anthony. He went to school with Shannon Sharp.
Oh, he went to Savannah State.
Yep.
Oh, he from 911. Okay. He from the country.
Best impersonator. But what do you think with what's going to happen this off season, and then what do you think going forward the Dream can move on? Because I think this is not a black eye, but it's a stain.
For sure. All right, so here's my thing. First, the Line of Dream need to hire a GM. Line of Dream need to hire a coach. Those are the first 2 things. All right, moving on from there. The GM has to make a decision on Kennedy Carter.
I agree.
That's kind of the biggest question, because what you do with Kennedy Carter determines the trajectory of the franchise. Because if you trade her, then you're obviously going to get back some assets of some type of value.
I agree.
Okay, so then that, like, the entire dynamic of your team changes. It's kind of, if you keep her, she's so valuable with her scoring abilities and being so young, entering her third season, then you kind of build around her and Aerie, so that's what I would do. I would try to build around, create a future backcourt with Aerie and Kennedy.
I agree with that.
And then like I'm looking at the big. So the big that I think is the most skilled big in this year's draft is Shakira Austin. But people are also saying with Shakira Austin, it's like, oh yeah, you already know that's your girl, the former tour, from Maryland 2. She used to go to Maryland 2. But anyways, she's extremely skilled, everything like that. And I think she's the most skilled big. So it's like, I don't know. That could possibly be more drama, but like she isn't causing any problems right now in Oxford in the past few years. She's only led them to the NIT championship and, is dominating in the SEC, the best conference in basketball. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. Shout out Shakira though. I think they should draft Shakira and keep Kennedy and have a backcourt of Kennedy and Aerie, and then have Shakira at the 5, bring back Monique Billings, and you get a starting 5 of whoever the heck you want to put at the 3. Kennedy, Aerie, Kennedy, whoever you want to put at the 3, Monique Billings at the 4, Shakira Austin at the 5, and run with it.
You wouldn't bring back Elizabeth Williams?
I mean, she's an OG, so like if you wanted to just do something like we'll keep you on to transition into a mentor role. I don't know if she wants to necessarily do that because, she's been playing with Nigeria. She's playing immediately in her team overseas right now, what I'm saying. So it's like, I don't know if she just wants to kind of just settle for not playing anymore.
I agree with that. Anthony saying even in basketball, the SEC just means more.
In women's basketball, you have to clarify that. Men's basketball, SEC was something a couple of years ago, though.
Yeah.
Like, because Bruce Pearl had them boys hooping at Auburn. But Florida also had Trey Mann and who's the Scotty kid, Scotty Lewis at Florida. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, SEC men had it for a year, but it was really the women's and football that's like the strongest stuff in SEC.
Yeah. So let me just randomly, because as I'm a fan of Kalani Brown, why the hell was she in Atlanta and she didn't get any minutes? Like, I know last year, I know she had COVID, and I was like, wait a minute. I looked, I remember I can't remember what game it was on, but I said, that's Kalani Brown? Because I'm like, is it just me or did she grow? I mean, like I know she wasn't in basketball shape.
Yeah, she lost mad weight this season, like because
she sure did.
She was out of shape, and so like she was just like you could see it in kind of her conditioning running up and down the floor.
Cool.
And I remember even talking to someone, I was like, "Dang, Kalani Brown's out of shape." They were like, "Don't judge someone about their visual." I was like, "But this is a professional athlete. Like she gets paid. I think it should be fair for me to say a professional athlete who gets paid."
But it wasn't like it. I mean, we're not like I know what you're saying. I mean, I'm not making fun of her. I was just like, wow. I mean, I don't know if that was COVID. I don't know because she talked about she went through depression and all that stuff like that. So for her, this journey where she's been on social media, she's made it. She declared it on Twitter. She's like, the whole summer, y'all going to pay for it, and the Lord has blessed my eyes. I'll tell you that for sure. So
shout out to Lonnie. Shout out to all my folks over there in Louisiana or from Louisiana, now in Jersey, because my boy Rod just got that NBA job. Yeah, Rod. Shout out my boy. But his wife Julia is like really close friends with Lonnie, so it's like I'm like that close to her. And I tried to even get her on when the whole Nikki Collins thing happened, but she never got back to me. So
damn it.
Yeah, I know, right? But shout out Lonnie, shout out Louisiana, shout out PJ Brown, her dad.
PJ Brown, former Boston Celtic.
Hey, is that who you like? The first thing I think about is like the Charlotte, not Charlotte, but New Orleans Hornets.
Hornets. Well, I remember when they were Charlotte, and then they moved to New Orleans. Then they became.
I don't remember when they were originally the Charlotte Hornets. That was
Really?
before my time. Nah, I don't remember it.
Okay. What else happened? Oh, also too, Alana Coates was on Atlanta. I feel like she was a good fit. She should have
Yeah. She was on for a little bit, and then she said she wasn't coming back until that team got rid of Loeffler. They're like, I'm never playing for Loeffler.
right, and she came here. I remember that, and then for some odd reason we didn't keep her. So, I like to see them both in Washington. That's just me because we need some inside presence. But my last question for the interview, sir, is what is your message to those, especially African American men and women? What is your message to aspiring sports journalists? What is your message?
All right, so I'll start out by saying like, there's room for everybody to eat, so don't be selfish. I think so many times like, it's like, how do you even want to say this? See, because this one could get me in trouble. I'm already knowing before I say it, so if I get in trouble, it is what it is. Because
I got
already
you
knew.
back.
So it's pretty much like this. It's like when like a bunch of black kind of journalists get together, it's like camaraderie, right? Especially when you're at your age, Nate. Like you say, you're still in school. So
Right.
It's like a lot of journalists would be like, yeah, I'll help you out, Nate, right? And that's how it is. Like everybody embraces you, loves you. And then it's like you get a couple years out of school. You get a couple years of experience under your belt. Then you start making some noise. You might go viral a time or two. You might start, your name is buzzing just a little bit underground on the national scale. Those same people, when you were at the college, yeah, Nate, I'll pick you up. How you doing? So you give you hugs. Start looking at you a little more cold because now you're competition. You're no longer the little student. You know, so I think the first thing to emphasize is that there's room for everybody to eat. Because I think the more open and more warm you are to people, just the better things are. The better things are, because if everything is so cold and it's me against the world, I'm going against the ops, the feds, everybody's against me. Like, I don't know if you're going to be successful at anything in life with that mentality. So I think that's the first thing. Second thing is just consistency and just do it. Nike, just do it. Because there's so many people who hit me up. Like I made the video about like tonight because someone else was asking like, how did you get to ask Hawks players questions? I just kind of made it like a little soliloquy. So it was just it's so many people that ask like, I want to do this. I want to get into sports. How do I get into sports as my full-time job? And then, you know, I'll talk to them, you know, for an hour, like just like we are right now. This has been 2.5 hours. I'll talk to them on the phone or something like that for an hour or two. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I appreciate that, Mr. Milligan, and hang up. And then I never hear from them again, never see them again, never see any of their work online, never, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
At the end of the day, man, you got to put in the work. Like I could talk to you until I'm blue in the face. You got to put in the work yourself. And, you know, but these days with the internet, there's no direct path to get there. Like you look at Monica McNutt, like there's been no direct path for her. She just kind of,
she just
yeah, exactly. Is there an opening on this show?
One door
I'll
closes,
take it.
another one opens. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, you know, I mean, but you have to have some type of work to even present to people when they're like, well, what about Nate? Dang, does Nate have any podcasts? Does he have any experience on podcasts or just, no, trust me, he's a good kid. I see him tweet all the time. Like that isn't going to work. You need some content out, some stuff to show people that A, you're dedicated to your series and, you know, and that you're good.
I'll tell you what got me first interested. I kid you not. It got on Bleachers Report. I did an open letter to the Washington Wizards because at the time we were in the semi-conference finals, and last one of the year we had Paul Pierce. The year he left, and we were kind of at a standstill. Bradley Beal only played 55. He was like 55 games. Randy Whitman it just wasn't the same team. And I was like, yo, man, this is not the same team from where we were last year. We've always been inconsistent. Ernie Grunfeld, you know, you got to step up as a GM. Are you okay with being in the middle of the road team? or you want to be great. And shoot, Nate has three seasons in now. Yeah, yes, definitely. But it's just for me. That was actually one of my proudest works because I spoke from the heart. I didn't think it would get that much traction to the point where it was on Bleachers Report. But I agree. It's just putting in the work and just be dedicated. I do feel like that's one thing. As African Americans, we got to push each other. We iron sharpens iron, and that's the key. And when we do that, things prosper, things happen. And when I look at guys like yourself and guys in like ESPN, I'm looking at Stephen A. Smith, Michael Wilbon, Jay Harris.
Were you about to say Jay Wright?
I was about to say Jay Wright. I was about to say Jay Wright.
Was he about to say Jay?
Stuart Scott, like you said earlier, so many, and they give me the motivation to do this. Especially, when I started the idea of doing a podcast. Doing those videos, I started last year in the midst of a pandemic. My first video, I kid you not, was after Kobe died, and Gail King and her comments to Lisa Leslie about bringing up the whole thing what happened many moons ago with Kobe, and then the World Series fiasco with the Astros. And ever since then, I kind of took it. I haven't looked back. The podcast came up with an idea because I'm like, well, I love talking about sports. Absolutely, rest in peace, late great Stuart Scott. So I started talking about sports, especially like the WNBA. I'm like, okay, I can talk about the WNBA, Washington Mystics. Like a couple people have been like, man, like we don't really care about you talking about the WNBA. Like we want to know you talk, NBA, football, baseball. And it's like
there's a billion channels on YouTube that are doing that. You don't have to watch his channel if that's what you want. Feel free to go to the next channel where the billions of people giving the same casual takes about the same two leagues. It's like, how repetitive can we get? It's like hip hop. It's like you hear one song and I don't get, like Cardi makes a song, right? And it's a hit. And it's like, I got the bag in me. I got the bag to my side. I got the bag to my side. Ooh, I got the bag to my side. Ooh. And then you go to the next channel, and then it's like Trippie Redd, and it's like, I got the bag to my side. And it's like they're all making the same song. And it's like, okay, so why in the world, like, what reasonable human, when there's a billion channels on the Washington football team, there's a billion channels on the Washington Wizards, there's a 1,000,000,001 channels on the Washington Nationals, why are you mad if I bring up the Washington Mystics, God forbid, for 30 minutes in a video? If you want to listen to those other teams, there's a billion other channels on YouTube, on Twitter, on Hulu, whatever the heck is there already. You can watch it anywhere. I don't, there's a billion podcasts if you want Spotify, Apple Music, whatever the heck. So why is it like, if it bothers you to the point where you have to comment on it, bro, like go out, touch some grass.
Touch the grass. Amen. I like that. So in closing, we're gonna close it up, wrap it up.
But continue though with you though, because you were on a roll. You were on a roll talking about your rise and why'd you got into that and what keeps you going.
Oh yeah, for sure. So for me, hold on. I'm mad Cardi didn't legit make a remix of her coronavirus rant. That would have slapped.
Guaranteed.
That was a good one. I like that one. But no, like, because how I started doing it, because I have a laptop, and I literally was like, okay, I have a camera, I got a feature. At first, I was using I had a 7 Plus iPhone, and I was using that to like use as lighting. to record the videos. And my friend was like, "You need a microphone." So a friend of mine, she got one for my birthday, but actually last year. And I was like, "Okay, I needed like a selfie light." And I was just recording, like, that's how I was doing make the videos. I would premiere them every like day, like 9:00, 9:30. I would actually watch them because I wanted to, make sure that I say this right, that I say that right. What did I miss? But I heard using StreamYard a few months ago. Shout out to Sean Spencer, who gave me the idea of using it because I could go live and just different things like that. And since then, with the podcast, it actually came from the idea right after, with the situation happened in Boston with Stephen A. Talking about it was white privilege that Brad Stevens got moved into a position to even the point where Lexi Brown was saying some comments and stuff and different things like that. And I said, well, that gave me the idea to start doing like a podcast. So, I mean, ever since then, I haven't looked back. I mean, I get trolls sometimes in the comments. I thank God, one, that he's given me the ability to use this platform wisely and to give me a voice and let this is what I love to do. I love to talk sports because this is where I see myself in. And we all got to have StreamYard is legit for a little piece of change. I agree. I definitely agree with that. And some of the there's topics I've touched on where it's social. I talked about there's an NFL player. He was with the Seattle Seahawks, and there was a comment I made where I said something like he wanted to clap them cheeks, and a friend of mine, they were like, "Nathan, you made my day with this comment." Literally screen recorded it, and I'm like, okay. I did another one where it was like Dylan Brooks. He was messing like with some. I guess I'm not sure he was still with her. Some an Instagram model, and I said something along the lines like, "If you put me in a room with her and a box of pizza, 9-10 times I go with the box of pizza." And then a couple friends were like, "That's a legendary comment," because it was just some of the comments that she was making. But like, particularly when it comes to like social politics, that's been a touchy subject. I talked about. I did a video on Juneteenth. I talked about how I felt about with the whole Jacob Blake, George Floyd situation, even what happened in Cleveland. The girl that got I can't think of her name now.
Kidnapped.
Not kidnapped. She got shot and killed by the cops.
Oh, you're talking about and she had the knife after the protest.
Yes.
I'm looking at her face right now. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I said I can't think of her name. I please forgive me, ladies and y'all.
But I know the story. Story. Like she had the knife, and it was after the protest, and the cop got her. Dang.
Yeah, but it was because it was over a chore, and I'm like, I said to myself, y'all call 911 for that when you guys could have handled that situation. And then LeBron James made some stuff. See, like for me, it's just I have to be careful when I come on here. I want to make sure I'm clear and I'm concise because it's just an opinion. We're all diverse in thinking. The last few videos, like I don't think I've talked that much about the Atlanta Dream and wherever. Like I think like the last like episode 13 of this season, which was a couple videos ago. Like it was like I felt it was like a whole dedicated rant about Atlanta and Courtney Williams and Renee Montgomery, because like we're all talking about it, so why not? But there's like certain stuff I won't touch. There's those parts of YouTube like Area 6, like Area
51.
51. Like nah.
What about the whole tab YouTube? I've seen you do a couple red pill videos. I've seen those.
Well, I mean, it's not,
or at least analysis of red pill.
Yes, I mean, for me, like I think it's like the situations that.
Do you watch AMS?
No, I don't. I mean, I look at it like this. Is how I look at it. When there's a situation that occurs, like we gotta like hold ourselves accountable. Like I understand the movement, but at the same time, is we have to make smarter choices. You know, if we're going to mess with with Instagram models, wear protection. Like why are we settling down and having babies? Like LaMelo Ball, like allegedly is with a third. Like when you're 21 and you're with a third someone in their 30s, something ain't right with that. You know, PJ Washington has to pay $43 million for the next 18 years to a woman that's in these streets, and then made a video declaring that stepdaddy season. Like we like see, so social media is a blessing and it's a curse. Like when I look back on some of those videos, it's not that I'm not a part of it, but I understand where they're coming from, if that makes sense.
And I hear you for sure. One thing I wanted to ask you about, because you talked about it early on, like you touched on it a little bit. You talked about troll comments. You're like, sometimes I receive troll comments. I wanted to know, how do you deal with troll comments and negative comments and stuff?
Well, there was a couple. I had to redo the whole episode. I had a couple people from couple YouTube channels that I support and follow, and the last topic was on mental health. And yeah, I gave it out the hold on, athlete discovered to be dating an IG model, and other news. Water is what, bruh. You got money. You are a target. That's true. And I said, if people want to join, here's the Zoom, here's the link. And next thing you know, I'm getting all these spam comments, and a couple guys came in there, and just made the video. Decided like, nah, I took a hold down and stuff and things like that. But I block them. I make it clear I have no time for trolls. Again, shout out to Sean Spencer. You got to learn how to just tune it out. He just look at the comment, block, and keep it going. Like there was one this couple, there's been a very few inappropriate comments, and sometimes I report them and block them. But you gotta learn, haters are going to hate, trolls are going to troll. But this is my channel. This is what I love to do. You're going to have that in life. A lot of people told me, but even before YouTube, this is what he's going to be. He's not going to get here. And I've proven those doubters wrong. And this is where
talk your talk.
This is what I love to do. I never forget, I was in middle school, and this was at the time during the Obama McCain elections, and I'm going to debate with this teacher, and she was like, "You're really good. You'd be really good debating." And it hit me. And that's like, it wasn't like a calling at the time, but when I have conversations with my dad, like talking sports and different things like that, and my uncles, I'm like, bro, this makes sense. Okay, so why not? So ever since then, I haven't looked back. I try to follow those that cover sports, and I try not to follow the crowd. Like for example, like when Stephen A says something that's out of bounds, or I go like, what did he say? I try not to be disrespectful. I question. Like again, like with the whole Kennedy card situation. Like I was voicing my opinion on Twitter. Like that's a double standard. Like I can't tell you how many. Like one journalist, I read where he's from. He's a professor, and he quoted my tweet. He said this. He basically said I agree. Like it's interesting, to like really see like, oh, okay, this is what I've been doing. I had a conversation with one of the WNBA pages. They said, are there any Mystic fans on Twitter right now? Stephen A's minuscule mustache is out of bounds. But yeah, like
You're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it.
But no, I feel like, for me, like I just see doors opening for me, and I gotta thank God, obviously, because without Him, none of this would be possible. I mean, even just asking, hey, can I do an interview with you? Because I was like, man, he's probably gonna say no, and I'm like, oh man, like okay, I'm gonna Rashad, I'm gonna get a chance to interview Rashad. I've been trying to get interviews with.
I am not Michael Jackson, man.
And his reverse Panera Bread. Oh no, Panera Bread bowl hairline.
he giving them mama's cooking.
Mama's cooking, yeah. Even that, I even came to Kwame Brown's defense in the video, saying y'all woke on a sleeping giant. Leave the man alone. And some of the things he's saying, like he's not wrong about how the media is. So, that's also too. Like when I make videos, I don't criticize anybody in the media. I just critique, the criticism. Like for example, Lamar Jackson with Louisville. Everyone came out and say, "Oh, he needs to be a wide receiver. He can't throw the ball. He's a developing project." Well, here's Trevor Lawrence on a team that stinks, and with a coach that obviously.
So they had the map on bottom. That's what they were playing in the club when he was in the. So they had the map on bottom jeans.
Relationship with your
Oh my God.
I mean, at the floor.
So I mean, and people even criticize me with some friends going like, "There's no goalpost movement. You gotta let it go." And it's not just that. It's the media has to be. The media always controls and spins the narrative. Like what I see with Lamar Jackson, he's a great example. Like they'll never give this kid credit. They never will. Like if Lamar Jackson's on any other team, it's a different story. So. I enjoy doing this. I mean, my goal. I told people this. Like I said, season 3 is we're trying to do big things. I'm trying to get for me, it's kind of hard for me to network. The different athletes. Like I said, I tried to reach out to Lexi Brown's agent. I even tried to do an interview with Morgan Tuck, but now that she's retired with the Connecticut Sun, I'm gonna try to see if I can reach out to someone in the department, even someone from the Mystics. But it's kind of hard to. No one has emails and. I don't know who to get, reach out to. I'm gonna see if I can even do something with the Baltimore Ravens, Washington football team. I've been trying. It's funny. I read a letter by Alana Coates, while she was on the Wnba team this year, and I guess the person that wrote the letter sent my information to, I guess, her representative. I never heard back. So I know right now she's overseas in Turkey. So, and that's another thing too. It's hard to find who their agents are. It's really hard. I've been going Alana Coates' agent. Nothing. It's hard. It's really hard to find their agent.
Trust me. I know. Hey, I know. Hey, if I cracked the code, I would have let you. Oh, this is all you got to do. I ain't cracked the code myself.
I mean, hard. Some of them, for example, Lexi Brown will leave their agency's email address, but man, it's challenging. But like I said, I'm trying to. I feel like this is part of my portfolio for something big. I see what God has in store for me for the future. I just gotta stay, positive. I just gotta stay upkeep. Gotta stay motivated. And this is what I love to do. I have another episode coming out tomorrow. Hoping to have Nick Rosario from Let's Talk Football. He on a group I'm in. He loves baseball. He's a Chicago Bear fan. He's a White Sox fan. So this is what I'm gonna continue to do. I'm gonna keep going until Big Nate is here to stay. He's not going anywhere.
It's the only choice you got. Came too far now.
Exactly.
Season 3? 3 seasons in, and then we're going to give up?
Nope.
What that look like? Look like a quitter to me.
Exactly.
I don't see no quitters in this room. Y'all see any quitters? Keep going.
Absolutely.
Keep going, man.
Absolutely. So season 4, that will start when the NBA starts. This is on the 19th. So that will be season 4. Wow, crazy. But let me ask, and we're gonna end it here. What do you got going on your end of the on YouTube? You have any videos? I caught the one yesterday about with their agent.
Yeah.
Gosh, this is the way he was in the video. I mean, Rashard, he's all like this. I mean, like, and Chris, just me, just hear me out. Does Christina Williams and Lexi Brown kind of fame each other?
Nah. They're both black.
Facial wise.
Nah.
Okay, maybe it's
Because
just me.
Lexi, she got like these like cheekbones, like very distinct cheekbones, and that kind of sets her apart from Christina.
Right. But go ahead. What's in store for you? What are the upcoming projects?
I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. I just kind of wake up and it's like, all right, what am I gonna do? So it's like, yeah, that pretty much. Like I usually I have someone coming on next week. So I have someone coming on. Big Nate, I gotta get you on at some point.
For sure.
We gotta get you lit. We gotta get you at least to 150, at least 200.
Yeah, I'm at 96. So
I know. I see. I shouted you out. I just dropped a video before I hopped on here.
yeah, I saw
Like,
it. I saw it on my notifications.
Yeah, and like I said, I shouted you out in it. So like I threw in your little name and everything, like the picture and stuff in the video.
I appreciate that.
And the link in it. No problem. So like I said, we gotta get you lit. So you gotta get on at some
I will
point.
not forget, ladies and gentlemen, to put Rashard's YouTube channel, his Twitter page, and his website. The only thing I don't like about StreamYard is when you go live, and I should have done it before I went live, but when you're at work and you're trying to get work stuff done, and I'm like, oh, just hit me. I didn't put his
Totally different mindset.
But luckily, that's why you have apps, YouTube Studio, where you can put it in there. So,
and also remember, Hulu just doesn't have live sports. It's a lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, but like, really, it's just, man, I'm really excited for the NBA season. Really hyped for that. Really excited for college women's basketball this season. It's all just really good. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got. I don't really have none. Yeah, nothing. Like, if you find me, you find me. If you don't, you don't. It's cool. I won't cry.
I hear you. So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes episode 16 of Big Nate Talk. I mean, not 16, 15. I apologize. Of Big Nate Talk podcast. Rashard, thank you for joining me, sir. I know I talked your ear off for now 3 hours.
You're good. You're good. It's early in the night, man. I could do this for another 28 hours.
Like I said, I will leave his YouTube channel, his website, and his Twitter in the description below. If you like the video, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button along with notification bells on. Also, share the podcast. This will be on Anchor. It'll go on Spotify as well. Rashard, do you have any last closing words before we end the podcast, sir?
Everybody be safe and call your loved ones while you can.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see y'all tomorrow, episode 16. It is 1:43 where I'm at, and it'll be Friday where you are. Happy Friday. If it's y'all Fridays already, have a great weekend. I'm going to see y'all Friday. Tomorrow, I'll see you in about maybe 12 hours. Something like that. Good night. Good show. Thank y'all for letting me harass y'all tonight. Hey, it's all love, man. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for staying on with us, too. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, man.
I appreciate you. Also, too, Rashard, I'm going to give you his YouTube channel. You got to check him out. Really good dude.
Okay, for sure. And he's from GA, like he said. So, for sure, I got him.
For sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We appreciate you for staying on with us. Y'all have a good night. Stay up.
First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.